Welcome back. Western Kentucky will try to finish the game strong this week, as for their last 7 losses have been by 3 points or less, and they led in the second half of each of them. Middle Tennessee, meantime, not going to make it easy for the Hilltoppers as they boast the 4th best red zone defense in the FBS. For more on this game, let's head down to Tennessee, where Jason Horowitz and Danny Cannell will be on the call.
All right, guys, we're getting set for a great rivalry in Conference USA. It's the 68th all-time meeting between a pair of schools separated by just 100 miles. Western Kentucky, Middle Tennessee, as we take a look at the Conference USA standings. And Hilltoppers certainly having a rough year. They're looking to try and make a statement in the rivalry tonight. As for Middle Tennessee, different story. They're trying to get to the Conference USA championship game for the first time since coming into the league in 2013. Along with Danny Cannell, Jason Horowitz, happy to be with you here at Murfreesboro. And Danny, the teams might be separated in the conference this year and certainly by record, but when it comes to this game, there's no real separation except for the fact that Western Kentucky's won the last 3. 4 of the last 6 have gone to overtime.
I hate cliches, and I think it's one of the corniest things to say in all of football when you say throw the records out the window, but that's what you have to do in this game. It's a rivalry game. A lot of times they've been recruited by the opposing coaching staff. They know a lot of these guys, having played against them in high school leading up. There's a lot of trash talk, so I would expect this to be tight in the fourth quarter because of all those factors. 3
overtimes last year in Bowling Green before Western Kentucky won the game with Mike White, so hopefully we get a game like that again tonight. As for the quarterbacks in this game, the star is on Middle Tennessee's roster. Brent Stockstill, one of the all-time leaders at this school.
And you know, 5th-year senior, has been here a while, but one thing he's never done, beat Western Kentucky. So he'd like to add that to his resume, which is already super impressive. His dad's the coach. He's a very bright quarterback, makes good decisions, but he wants to get that win over the rival, and hopefully he'll get it tonight.
Close to 11,000 passing yards in his career. It's Middle Tennessee and Western Kentucky. It's coming up at the top of the hour, but for now, let's go back to New York.
In his career, Stockstill 289 through the air per game. That's best among active quarterbacks. So he certainly is the star. When you look at this game as a whole, Coach, what stands out for you?
I want to say what stands out to me. I'm going to take you back when I was at Murray State. Western Kentucky and Middle Tennessee, they will fight you. They will play extremely hard. Brent Stockstill, you mentioned, this guy is a coach's son. 5th-year senior. He understands the offense. He can throw the football, has over 1,500 yards. He knows where to go with it. And the defense has been extremely stingy in the red zone. Yeah. Last week, Reed Blankenship took an interception back 100 yards, guys. They know how to make plays. They're fun to watch.
And on the flip side, Western Kentucky, they're one of the worst in the red zone. So, and they're one of the worst scoring in the second half. They only averaged a little less than 7 points in the second half. And you mentioned those close losses. Well, they've had leads in 3 of those 4 close losses that they've had where they've lost by 3 points. They just can't finish. They have to find a way to finish if they get a lead in this one.
Well, let's take a look at the Conference USA standings. And again, the Conference USA title game will be December 1st, 1:30 Eastern, right here on CBS Sports Network. Still a lot to be played out over the next month before that December 1st title game. Kevin, what do you have when it comes to Conference USA here as we approach Week 10?
Well, the 2 teams to beat respectively in the East and the West are FIU and UAB. When you look at what they're getting done, these 2 teams are the most impressive. UAB I really like because their team leads this conference in sacks, 31 sacks on the season. I love how they get after the quarterback. Whenever you're able to do that, you speed up opposing quarterbacks. You create turnovers for your defense. You make it easier on your secondary. They also run the football. This UAB team is really impressive. They're undefeated in the conference, and they're only 7-1 overall. So look at them. Everybody's chasing these 2 teams, including Middle Tennessee. They're chasing FIU in their division.
See as it plays out. And again, Conference USA, top of the hour, the Western Kentucky taking on Middle Tennessee. When we come back, it's time for Flashback Friday. 2 quarterbacks making names for themselves in the NFL with big numbers once upon a time. They met in a high-flying, record-setting game. Texas Tech, OU, Mahomes and Mayfield. We're going to relive it after the break. Time for Flashback Friday. Week 8 of the 2016 season saw a shootout for the record books. Baker Mayfield and 16th-ranked Oklahoma traveled to Lubbock to take on Patrick Mahomes and the Red Raiders. The first half saw a combined 54 total points as the Sooners took a 6-point lead into the locker room.
Baker wanting to go deep. He's going to sling it for the end zone. Looking for D.D. He's got it! Oh, mama! He's got a touchdown! Mahomes
steps up, throws, and it is, oh, fingertip catch, touchdown, Red Raiders.
The fireworks continued into the second half as the future first-round signal callers traded touchdowns into the fourth quarter.
Mahomes gonna throw to the end zone again, and it's Jonathan Giles that's got it. Touchdown, Red Raiders.
Baker's got it. He's going to wing it for the end zone, looking for Flowers. He's got it. Flags are down. He caught it anyway.
With the Sooners up 7 with under 6 minutes to play, Joel Mixon capped his career-best 263-yard rushing day with a touchdown to seal the victory for the Sooners. In Oklahoma's 66-59 win, the two teams racked up an FBS record 1,708 yards of offense, including 14 total touchdowns from the two gunslingers. That's what Kevin Carter loves a Big 12 shootout, 66-59 record-setting game like that, right, Kevin?
Neither of these quarterbacks were sped up in this process. I want to see pressure on the quarterbacks. I want to see sacks. I want to see interceptions. I want to see some defense being played. Brian, I'm criticizing Big 12.
You had no problem when Steve Spurrier had them lighting up the scoreboard like that back in your day, right? None whatsoever.
They were hitting on the other side
of the ball. We were stopping people. Okay, we were stopping people.
And that was a game for the ages, okay?
It was. If you just want to watch somebody throw and catch, these two guys right here, phenomenal. They're fun to watch now, and they can extend plays and make every kind of throw.
That's what makes it so difficult and complicated for opposing defenses, because they can move around and they can extend those plays, and while they're doing all that, they can still keep their eyes downfield and find receivers.
All right, on to this year's game. 7th-ranked Oklahoma paying a visit to Texas Tech. As we break down the matchup, these two are still two of the highest-scoring teams in the nation. No surprise there. Kyler Murray leads the Sooners and has thrown for 28 touchdowns. The Red Raiders freshman quarterback Alan Bowman, he leads the Big 12 in passing yardage. So again, it's going to be a fun one. Who's your pick?
It will be fun. I thought Oklahoma and that new defense with Ruffin McNeil leading the charges up front, I thought they may have some trouble with K-State a week ago, because K-State, the previous two games, 600 yards of total offense on the ground. No problems whatsoever. They held K-State to 245 total yards, and I think they win this one. It's going to be difficult because Texas Tech can spread it around and light up the scoreboard, as can Kyler Murray and the Sooners, but I think Oklahoma wins.
Okay, Coach?
Well, I know at Texas Tech at night, I know it's going to be tough, and the offense they have is awfully good, but Kyler Murray, to me, right now, they are so smooth the way they get up and down the field. And you mentioned Ruffin McNeil. It seemed like to me they're doing a good job as well.
We're going to make it a clean sweep. I'm going to go with Oklahoma as well, and I like this quarterback comparison. Look at what Kyler Murray's putting up. He's doing, look, we don't miss Baker Mayfield because we have Kyler Murray and Lincoln Riley's offense. I'm going to go with Oklahoma, but because of what you said. I think their defense is trending in the right way. I think Alan Bowman for Texas Tech, I think it doesn't matter who the quarterback is for either one of these teams. These systems are going to produce a lot of points. It's the defense who has a stop at a key moment in this ball game that's going to tell the story of who wins. I think it's Oklahoma.
And Kyler Murray has 5 games this year where he's had multiple pass touchdowns and a rush touchdown, at least one rush touchdown. Outstanding.
Let's bring it full circle, because Sunday on CBS at 1 p.m. Eastern, you got the Cleveland Browns home against the Kansas City Chiefs. You get the rematch.
Oh, my
BJ.
goodness.
Mahomes and Mayfield on CBS Sunday, 1 Eastern.
Well, a little turmoil, which they're used to there in Cleveland land. And Mahomes has just been as advertised. Of course, he sat a year last year, and now he's lighting up things the way he's still extending plays and bringing a little of that college flavor to the Chiefs.
I love both these quarterbacks, but I'm going to tell you something. Kansas City Chiefs, what Andy Reid has done with screens, draws, lightning sweeps, play action, keeps it moving, they're fun to watch. Wow.
I love that evolution of the game of football, and I love when a coach like Andy Reid can reach back into college and take something that a quarterback did so well and thrived with in a system and bring it full circle, reinvigorate, just reanimate an offense that maybe was a little bit stale because it's the pro game. I love those accents. I love the pieces of the college game that he's brought forward, especially with Patrick Mahomes. This is what he's used to doing. He hasn't had to learn the pro system so much as he's continuing his learning process and his own evolution. Really impressed with him.
Some of the stuff that he pulls off, like the left-handed throw against Denver in prime time. I mean, some of the throws he's made going back across the field.
But Baker's bringing some confidence to that Cleveland bunch as well.
All right. Kansas City looks like a Super Bowl contender to me there, Brian
I
Jones.
don't know about that defense. I don't know about that defense.
They're getting healthy.
Got a couple of gunslingers on our air in Conference USA. Coming up shortly here on CBS Sports Network, Western Kentucky's Davis Shanley. And one of the active leaders in many offensive categories in the FBS, Middle Tennessee's Brent Stockstill. Middle Tennessee, Western Kentucky in moments. It's 8 Eastern with the kickoff. We're back to wrap up our show after the break. All right, 6-0. Pitt just scored, so now pending PAT. Taking on 25th ranked Virginia on the road. So this is interesting. Pitt has a couple of quality wins this year. They're 3-1 in the ACC. Virginia all alone atop the Coastal Division in the ACC. So trying to punch their ticket the next few weeks into the ACC title game, but down 6-0. Time now for upset picks. Brian, you get to go first. There are 5 choices.
I haven't done so well in this department, but I'm going to keep on trucking, Coach.
Keep on.
I'm going to go big or go home, right? You see that right in the middle right there? Stop! Bama, LSU. Come on. The Tigers. I think they're going to have something to say about all this hoopla and being 15 points, underdogs to big bad Alabama. Coach, you said it earlier. They won't be afraid.
They won't.
They will not be afraid. We'll see if that's enough, but they're going to have to really play a clean football game.
Coach?
I'm going to go Colorado traveling to Arizona. I look for Colorado to I like watching them play. I think they've got enough to finish out the year right. I'm going to Colorado. Upset.
Right, that just, again, that's one of those tricky ones where it doesn't feel like an upset.
We
were talking about them kind of in the mix in the as well, like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
All right, but Coach, well played by you.
Well played.
That's smart. Yeah, how about you, Kevin?
I'm going Michigan State at Maryland. The last time there was a big emotional upheaval at Maryland, the first week of the season, Texas came in there and they put it on them. No offense, BJ, but this was a great win. We were all celebrating the win, the personal victory that these kids had by rallying, coming together. I think they had some tumultuous press conferences and things that have taken place this week with the bringing back DJ Durkin and then firing him. I think these kids come together. I think Michigan State had a few tough games. They had an emotional win over Purdue last week. I think they're a little beat up, and they're going on the road, and it's November.
What about Rocky Lombardi, man? I mean, he had an excellent game, getting his first start.
But can he go
week.
on the road and do it?
He had more sacks than he did attempts going into that ball game versus Purdue, and somehow they won. He threw for a lot.
All right, so Western Kentucky, it's Jeff Brom just a couple of years ago had this thing rolling. You know, Willie Taggart at one point. It hasn't gone well, right? They're 1-7 coming in. We showed going to the last break Davis Shanley, the normal starter at quarterback, but we just found out word that it's going to be Drew Eccles seeing his first action since September. He's a graduate senior. He will get the start. It's a game-time decision. BJ, can you speak to this idea that a coach says, all right, we're 1-7, we got nothing to lose?
You just spoke to it. You took the words out of my mouth. What do you have to lose? He has started before, so he has some attempts and has some playing time, significant playing time under his belt. So, yeah, it just makes perfect sense considering how they've been losing football games.
Well, good for Drew Eccles. He gets a chance. And when a coach comes to you and says, hey, you're in, hey, roll up your sleeves and go to work.
Kevin, who's your pick to win this game? Middle Tennessee or Western Kentucky?
I like Middle Tennessee. I like Middle Tennessee. I love their offense. Love watching them play.
Father-son combo. Stockstill. That's it for us in our New York studios. Send you down for the game, Jason Horowitz and Danny Cannell. We'll see you right back here at halftime.
That's how you make an entrance on a rivalry game with fireworks. College football on CBS Sports Network, presented by Geico. Western Kentucky and Middle Tennessee for the 68th all-time. The Blue Raiders looking to get to Conference USA's championship game. Need some help because they did lose to FIU. Western Kentucky trying to turn the season around and play spoiler tonight here inside Floyd Stadium. As we welcome you into the booth, Jason Horowitz alongside former Florida State quarterback Danny Cannell. Happy to have you with us here in Murfreesboro. These two teams, Danny, they haven't played at the same level this year, but this game has been so good the last few years. 4 of the last 6 have gone to at least 2 overtimes.
And I would expect more of the same. Western Kentucky, 4 of their losses by a field goal or less, so they're a better team than their record says they are, and I guarantee you Middle Tennessee is aware of just how good they are.
Yeah, they are. Middle Tennessee has lost the last 3 in this rivalry. Brent Stockstill has been the starting quarterback for all 3. Really good in his 5th year here, 5th-year senior, CDWI vision. What does he do so well?
A bunch of things. I'm really impressed when I watch him on tape because he's able to manipulate defenses with his eyes. And you would expect that coach's son, 5th-year senior, watch him keep the secondary, looking him off to the right side of the field, all the while knowing he's going to come back and rip this beautiful pass to his wide receiver perfectly in stride. And then the accuracy, that's what jumps off the film. A very catchable ball that keeps your receiver running so they don't have to slow down, which allows them to get the edge and get open plays like this.
So the Blue Raiders are set at quarterback. Western Kentucky has started 3 different guys, and tonight going back to the original starter. Drew Eccles, we were told just before the game, is going to start for the first time since week 2, a loss to FCS Maine. Danny, we're talking to Mike Sanford again, all those close losses. They thought maybe had he started some of those games, they wouldn't be 1-7.
And the quarterback instability has been an issue for Western Kentucky, and they're hoping to go to their 5th-year senior to kind of calm things down. A guy who knows comfortably where to go with the football, and he's had not only 1 but 2 shoulder injuries this season.
Both in the first 2 games, Wisconsin and then Maine in opposite shoulders. Mike Sanford's in his 2nd year. Rick Stockstill, one of the elder statesmen in college football, his 13th season here at Middle Tennessee, 60 years old, trying to knock off Western Kentucky. Tonight's weather report brought to you by B&W Trailer Hitches. One of us thinks it's a beautiful night. That'd be me. 48 degrees, not so much for the man from South Florida.
Hey, this is football weather at its best, so I'll take that.
Western Kentucky, every other game has been one where they've had an opportunity. Coming off a loss last week, 38-17 to Florida International. They won the toss, elected to defer. And we are underway here in Murfreesboro. The fair catch called for and bobbled by Ty Lee, but he made it. And remember, that's one of the new rules this year in college football, so out to the 25. Chick-fil-A starting lineups. And it's the man at quarterback, Brent Stockstill, 3rd in Conference USA in touchdown passes. He's 9th all-time, Danny, in passing yards with more than 10,600.
Really impressed with his leadership, the ability to distribute the football to all the different weapons that he's got on the outside, and just his knowledge of where to go with it quick. If they bring pressure, he's going to hurt you, and that's something Western Kentucky better be aware of.
Middle Tennessee coming off its best offensive performance of the season. They had 51 last week against Old Dominion. A couple of explosive plays. They haven't had that all year. Opening play, Stockstill keeps it himself, chased down out of bounds by Ben Holt, maybe a yard. It'll bring him 2nd down as we take a look at the rest of the Blue Raiders offense. Ty Lee is the go-to receiver on a team that is looking for a go-to guy.
And they're looking for some speed, probably one of their faster guys, 5'9", 178, had a nice touchdown catch last week, and they're going to look to try to continue that momentum from that game.
Picked up 1 on 1st down. Terrell West in motion. Stockstill right to Ty Lee, gets a block. 1st down, out towards the 41-yard line. Antoine Kincaid brought him down, but a 1st down for Middle Tennessee.
So the receiver slip screen. You see Ty Lee comes right back, and a good hesitation from Brent Stockstill, just letting him clear that first wave. And then that's what this offense does. Get the football to your receivers in space and let them make some plays.
16 yards on the pickup, the first completion of the night for Stockstill. Patrick Smith slipped out, breaks a tackle. Patrick Smith down to the 45. So they're not huge plays, but they're much better than the 3 and 4 yards they've been getting, and already into Western Kentucky territory.
Absolutely, and this is really a replacement of the run game. And see Stockstill giving a nice catchable pass, and then you make the plays after. And it's really tough once to get the open space to tackle all these guys. You have to count for all of them.
They do not have a great running game. 120 yards per game, 112th in the nation. Again, it's Patrick Smith. Nice drop by Drell Green coming up from the safety spot to avoid a big gain. Defense, Ben Holt last week, career high 19 tackles against Florida International. They're going to need him here tonight.
Monster game last week, but he's the emotional lifeblood of this team. Like when they need a stop, when they need somebody to get after him, somebody to get in the defensive lineman's face and say, come on, we need a stop, Ben Holt's the guy they count on.
He was named this week to the Burlsworth Trophy list. 70 former walk-ons. Winner at the end of the year, the best current walk-on. Stockstill over the hands of the intended receiver. I'll bring up third down.
I don't know if you noticed a theme, Jason, but Brent Stockstill does not hang on to the football long. A lot of that's by design, but I love it. It takes a lot of pressure off your offensive line. They can know, hey, I just got to get in front of my man for a second, a split second, and that's enough time to get the ball out.
His dad over on the sidelines watching, talking to Rick Stockstill this week. Said, what has been the biggest difference in your 5 years coaching your son? He said, I actually feel like I can talk about him now. If his name was Smith or Jones, I would have been raving about him 4 years ago. He's facing a 3rd and 8. Tavares Thomas, the back next to him, all 245 pounds.
He's got to get this one out quick.
Goes to the opposite side. It's caught. Broken away. Lee racing to the end zone. Touchdown, Middle Tennessee. 43 yards on 3rd down and a 6-0 lead for the Blue Raiders.
Ty Lee just running an inside fade route, so he's going to fade toward the sideline, and that's just an underthrown ball, and Ty Lee makes a perfect adjustment to it. That was probably by design. Brent Stock's a little bit of a back shoulder play, which is almost impossible for a defensive back to adjust to that when he can't see the ball and doesn't know what's coming.
Cruz Holt adds the extra point, and Middle, who has been struggling to find big plays all season, hits one on the opening drive. Ty Lee, his 4th touchdown grab of the year. And in the rivalry, it's the Blue Raiders striking first. .58-yard receiving on the opening drive. Ty Lee. Brent Stockstill was 4 of 5 on a drive that took less than 90 seconds to put Middle Tennessee in front. Dan, let's go back to that touchdown pass.
All right, so you're going to see Ty Lee lined up in the slot, and as soon as Brent Stockstill recognized there's man press coverage on the outside, he should be licking his chops because he got a little scissors. See them crisscross here? Just enough to mix up the defensive backs just a little bit, but because of the press coverage, you know there's no safeties in the middle of the field. It's just one-on-one football. These guys work on that all the time in individual periods in practice, in the off-season workouts. You work on that rhythm and timing, and that was evidence right there. Both those guys on the same page.
Defensive coordinator Clayton White was telling us yesterday when we met with the team that their stats for defense not impressive when you look at the overall numbers, but the defense has kept them in ball games. And you look at the Marshall game, they went 11 straight drives without giving up a touchdown. I mean, they've had great stretches. First 90 seconds in this one, though, Western Kentucky's now facing a deficit. Garland LaFrance, like Middle Tennessee, calls for the fair catch. And so Western Kentucky will bring it out to the 25-yard line for its opening possession. And our Chick-fil-A starting lineups. Like I told you in the open, it is the 5th-year senior out of Daytona, Florida, Drew Eccles, who started the first 2 games this season. They told us just before the game he went through warm-ups well. They're going to give it a shot.
This was really a last-minute decision. I'd be curious to know if even Drew Eccles knew. He's been getting closer and closer, and finally this week at practice, Mike Sanford said, you know what? He looks 100% like he can rip any throw I need him to make.
DeAndre Furby's been back from injury the last couple of games, been getting more carries. He gets the opening carry, and he has stood up right in the hole. Malik Mansell, the defensive tackle right there. They love how he's been playing. Rest of the offense for Western Kentucky. Offensive line's been getting better, but the go-to player, they said, has to be Jacquez Sloan.
Yeah, Mike Sanford, we asked him who his best receiver was. Without hesitation, before I could get the question out, he said Jacquez Sloan. The guy's a playmaker, getting better and better with each game he plays.
Eccles tested on 2nd down, settles in, finds Sloan, makes a nice grab. It's enough for a 1st down. Reed Blankenship made the tackle, but they'll move the chains.
And this is the type of movement you're going to watch. Watch Jacquez Sloan, going to run a little in cut, and then just keeps moving across the middle of the field, stays as a good target. A lot of times as a receiver, you got to present yourself as a good target. It's exactly what he was.
Back on the ground, it's Furby at a nice chunk. 6 yards on 1st down as we take a look at the Blue Raiders defense. Last week, Reed Blankenship, an interception for a touchdown. He is the Nagurski Award Defensive Player of the Week.
I love a tall, lanky safety. 6'1", 195 pounds. He's a ball hawk. And if you're a quarterback, you better make sure of where he is because he can take the distance as he did last week.
17 tackles, 3 tackles for a loss. Handoff to Joshua Samuel, one of the freshman running back they like. Blankenship coming up to make his 2nd tackle. That's the other part for Western Kentucky, a team that last year was dead last in the nation in rushing. They've got 3 freshman running backs. They're going to use all of them along with Furby. They like how this group has come along here in the end of the season.
Youth has been the theme of this season. I think it's why it's been a little bumpy for Western Kentucky.
Eccles on the fake. Drew Eccles all the way out to the 32-yard line. He was slowly creeping to the outside. Everybody thought Samuel had the football, but it's enough for a 21-yard run.
Sometimes the subtlest ball handling can really confuse a defense, and if they don't know you have the football, that's your best case scenario if you're Drew Eccles. It was 10 yards down the field before Middle Tennessee realized who had it.
Back to the ground. It's Appleberry picking his way for 4 yards. Let's go back to that fake for the guy who's had 2 shoulder surgeries.
Yeah, Eccles just going to stick it in the belly, and once he does, the whole defense collapses on the running back, and they forget about the quarterback. But I promise you, defensive coordinator Scott Schaefer is giving his team a tongue lashing and saying, hey, you got to be aware of that.
Empty set. Eccles out of the pocket. 5th-year senior just throws it away. Appleberry was there. Rasheem Collins applied the pressure, so here comes 3rd and 6. Tell you what.
And this will be a territory where Mike Sanford will keep going for it, no matter what. I have a feeling if they get 4th and 2, even if they get an incomplete pass here, I would not be surprised with the inconsistency of the kicking game that this is 2-down territory.
LaFrance in motion. Their freshman running back, 17 grabs on the year.
Well, it's sent in motion to try to get a feel for what they're doing coverage-wise.
He's at the bottom of the screen along with Jacquez Sloan. Eccles looks that way, comes the other direction. It's batted up in the air and knocked down. Rakavian Poitras, 6'1", 304-pound defensive tackle. And now here comes the decision, 4th and 6.
Oh, they're staying on the field. And Jason, you were paying attention last week when I told you what's the next best thing for a sack? It's a batted ball. A quarterback hates that. I told you that last week, so you weren't paying attention.
I was paying attention.
No, but that's if you can't sack the quarterback or hit him, it drives quarterbacks nuts if you bat a pass like that down. So that would have been a pretty good spot right there.
Western Kentucky, Danny, just 2 for 11 on 4th downs this year. They need the 22-yard line for a first. Eccles, nice pocket. Looking for Sloan, it's broken up. Javante Moffitt, who has missed the last 3 games with an injured shoulder, on the defensive play, and Middle Tennessee turns him over on downs.
What a great defensive play from Moffitt there. He had to be worried about the deep threat. Wasn't, knew exactly where the 4th down marker was, and comes up with a stop.
So a touchdown on the opening drive and a stop on defense.
College football on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. By Verizon, the unlimited plan you need on the network you deserve. And by Chick-fil-A Nuggets. Tonight is Nugget Night.
Western Kentucky celebrating its 100th season of football, national championship, 1AA in 2002. That opening picture from 1913 when their first win against Elizabethtown High School. Also there near Bowling Green. Romeo Crennel, part of the Western Kentucky. Willie Taggart played quarterback there.
Yep.
But this version of the team is 1-7 and touchdown deficit here less than 4 minutes into the opening quarter. Stockstill settles in the pocket, finds Ty Lee again. The ball pops out. Drell Green made the hit, and it's ruled incomplete on the field.
Yeah, the fake the toss sweep to the outside. Right there, that caught the linebackers to go to the outside.
On the field is an incomplete pass.
That's the right call. I don't think he had possession long enough. Ty Lee didn't.
Certainly no football move made.
No. But this offense is fun. You can tell there's a really good rhythm between Brent Stockstill and his dad, head coach Rick Stockstill. There's just a lot to be said. They played a lot of football games together.
There's also a whole lot of confusion. Play clock's down to 2, and they're going to take a timeout.
Well, yeah, the officials, that's
Timeout. Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, they thought they were going to review
first.
that. They
Right.
never did.
30
So
seconds.
they take the timeout. Let's go to your keys to the game, Dan.
All right, well, Western Kentucky, we already saw them making a change at quarterback with Drew Eccles, the last-minute starter. They need to find some rhythm there and some success. And defensively, Clayton White referenced, they need to put 4 good quarters together at once. They've had streaks where they've been pretty solid, but not a whole complete game. And for Middle Tennessee State, you've seen offensively already how much they like to spread the football around to their different weapons. Tylea catch, Patrick Smith the catch, a couple different catches. And then for them, if I'm their defense, Middle Tennessee, you know they've had struggles at quarterback. You know they've had struggles offensively. Don't give up any big plays. Keep them in front of you. Make them drive the distance. Last drive, what did we see? Long drive, a lot of plays, stall in the red zone. You'll take that every single time for Middle Tennessee.
Well, for Middle Tennessee's offense, too, again, they've been struggling to run the football, but they had over 200 yards last week against Old Dominion. They've come out. They haven't run the ball yet. Brent Stockstill does have a run, but it was a designed pass. On second down, it's back to the air again. Back shoulder, what a grab. Hauled in, fantastic catch. Doesn't want to let go of the ball. It's Tavon Salter. In a great battle with DeAndre Ferris, the 5th-year senior corner.
That's another back shoulder fade, and this is almost impossible. That's really good defense by Western Kentucky, but a perfectly thrown ball, there is no defense.
A 14-yard pickup, enough for a first down. See how far into this opening quarter they go without handing the ball off to a running back. Stockstill, the smart move. Well, you know, Holt was out there, Masai White too. They read the screen the whole way.
Beautiful job defensively. They saw it coming. That's a lot of film study that they've done. But you know why they don't have to run the football? Because you have an accurate passer who's completing 78% of his passes last week, 69% on the season. You could trust him in situations like this. Like, you just tee it up again, next drive, next play.
And he's calling a lot of the plays as well. That's part of the trust of having a 5th-year senior who has started since his redshirt freshman year back in 2015. He has been the guy.
There's probably nothing that surprises him out there.
Throws it out to Terrell West. Has to break a tackle and cannot. That is to Corian Darden, the corner who got beat on the touchdown pass, but a sure tackle to bring up 3rd and long.
That's how you stop this offense, because you've got the first guy to arrive has to make the tackle, because this offense is designed to get guys in space and break a tackle. So if you get guys like Darden coming up, making a solid play, that's how you get them in 3rd and 10.
Middle Tennessee on the year, 43% on 3rd down. Western Kentucky has struggled to get off the field on 3rd down. Blitz comes, Stockstill through the middle, and it's too far in front of Salter. Ferris was in coverage again. It'll bring up 4th down.
Stockstill would like to have that back. I think he was looking for Salter to cut a little bit more across the field as opposed to running up the field. And that's where you can see Stockstill trying to have a little conversation, say, hey, what do we practice all summer long? We practice on these things. Just a little bit underthrown, a little bit not on the same page.
Well, in the middle of the field was wide open, too. Right. Safety came down.
Yep, that was pressure. Western Kentucky brought pressure, and that's what Stockstill knew.
So this is Luke Shiflett on to punt. He is a wide receiver who's been punting the last couple of times. He now comes to the line, and they put Bonadies back to punt, their actual punter, who boots it away, and Roger Cray is going to let it bounce. Now fielded at the 11. And he called for a fair catch, so they will mark him down at the 11. 46-yard punt. And so Western Kentucky and Drew Eccles will start it at their own 11-yard line. Two weeks ago, Western Kentucky had one of the wildest finishes maybe ever in college football. Alex Ranella was attempting a 57-yard field goal, would have won it. There was a legal substitution called on Old Dominion, so we got another shot at it from 52 yards. This one into the wind as well, came up short, and Old Dominion had a chance at a Auburn-like kick 6. It was going to go to overtime, but instead there was a face mask called on Western Kentucky, so Old Dominion got the time down. and nailed the field goal to win it 37-34. Danny, 3 untimed downs to win a football game, or in Western Kentucky's case, to lose it. Something we might not see for years.
I've never seen it before, watching a lot of football over the past 20, 30 years, and I don't know if you'll see it in another 20 or 30. It's just one of those rare circumstances, and it's been that type of season for Mike Sanford of Western Kentucky.
The 4th game the Hilltoppers have lost by a field goal this year. Appleberry bouncing out of the first tackle as he goes right into DQ Thomas, as well as Darius Liggins there to make the tackle.
But Middle Tennessee better account for Drew Eccles on the outside. They're really doing a good job of bottling up the run game defensively. That time I thought maybe Eccles could have kept it himself again like he did last time he had a big run.
Middle Tennessee's defense in conference play, giving up just a little bit more than 20 points per game. So it has been a stout unit here this season. Eccles, this time on the play action, taking a shot. Sloan behind the defense. Jacquez Sloan inside the 35-yard line. Eccles hits him for 53 and a first down.
That was our guy. That's Jacquez Sloan. That's the one Mike Sanford said we got to get more involved. This time you see Western Kentucky bunch inside. A lot of guys in between the hashes in a tight formation. And when you do that, it's hard. Guys get confused. You can't find the guy you're supposed to cover. And that time Reed Blankenship a step late, and that's what allowed the big play.
Now, we asked Mike Sanford what Drew Eccles, how he is different. He said he gives us the opportunity at the long ball. He's our best thrower of a deep shot. We just saw it right there. Eccles keeps it. Run, pass option. Myquan Dean, the tight end, hurdles the defender. Reed Blankenship beaten on the long pass. Subject of the athletic play, and Myquan Dean the first down.
Well, you saw it, the read pass option, and that's such a bind for the defense because they're wondering it's going to be a pass, it's going to be a run. They get it on the outside. How about Dean just going over the top? You got to be really careful when you leave your feet like that because you open yourself up to some big hits.
On 1st and 10, Eccles keeps it again. This time looking for Lucky Jackson. Darryl Randolph in coverage.
Really nicely done by Darryl Randolph. You're seeing a lot of press coverage from both teams on the outside, and that displays a lot of confidence in your corners because they are on an island and they've got to go toe-to-toe and be ready for a deep ball. They've also got to be ready to come up and tackle in the open field game. Well played by Darryl Randolph.
Here's the other thing, too. Western Kentucky, a very young offense. But the other thing that Drew Eccles gives them, instead of a redshirt freshman quarterback, it's a 5th-year senior who has seen Mike White, he has seen Brandon Dowdy, watching both of them as the backup. Back to the air, pressure comes. Eccles underhands it out of bounds.
Hey, whatever you can throw the ball away, however you can do it, just get it to the line of scrimmage once you're outside the pocket, and that's exactly what Eccles did. Backside pressure came from the backside, and Drew Eccles was able to realize it there as you see Sloan coming across the field. Here it is. He doesn't see anything. He knows his clock is running out. You know your time is running out, and then just flings it out of bounds. You got to wonder how those shoulders are handing up. But you saw that pretty violent hit to the ground.
Dislocated shoulder in the opener against Wisconsin. Other shoulder dislocated against Maine in week 2. Eccles' first action since then. Pressure comes. Eccles to the end zone. And it's too far. Lucky Jackson, the intended receiver, wants the pass interference on Cordell Hudson. No flag, and so now 4th down again. And this is the 2nd drive that they have gotten inside the 30. But their field goal kicking is 6 of 12 on the year, but they're going to trot out the unit.
And this is the territory where you've got to just say, all right, our kicking game may be bad. We've got to play the percentages and give our kicker a chance. So I have no problem, especially when it's 4th and 10.
This is Alex Ranella, who is 3 of 6 on the year, has the leg. Their issue has been accuracy. This is a 40-yard attempt. And he sneaks it in. So they went for it on 4th down, right around the same spot opening drive. This time they elect the field goal. And Western Kentucky, Drew Eccles providing a spark, now back in the lineup. Jason Horwitz, Danny Cannell, happy to welcome you back to Murfreesboro.
I need one of those hats. It's chilly out.
It's not that cold, but the kids are out past their bedtime.
See, we got Snuggies out there. We got all kind of blankets. I need one of those. I need the hat and that.
Reward
whatever that is.
Tuesday night at 11 Eastern, college basketball tips off on CBS Sports Network. 7th-ranked Nevada out to prove that they are one of the nation's best teams. Wolfpack taking on BYU right here on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. The Wolfpack off the Sweet 16, and they bring back almost everybody. And Danny, 3 of the 5 panelists on CBSSports.com have picked Nevada to go to the Final Four.
Well, you know, if their name was Duke or Carolina or Kansas, they'd probably be ranked number 1.
I'm pretty sure someone in the truck told us that yesterday, right?
No, but I think it's right. I think it's accurate.
Ty Lee calls for the fair catch again. The Blue Raiders have only returned 3 kicks all year. They've been taking it out to the 25 all season. Take a look at Middle Tennessee's offense here. The opening drive went right down the field, 75 yards.
Yep, you see Brent Stockstill getting out of his hands quick, giving it to Ty Lee. You get on the inside, flip the pass out to Patrick Smith. He gets a lot of yards after the catch. A nice back shoulder throw to Ty Lee again. Good adjustment back to the football, and then it's a foot race to the end zone. They really clicked on that one, trying to get back to that. And now you've seen Western Kentucky adjust a little bit, bought a couple more pressures. They don't want Brent Stockstill to be comfortable in the pocket.
This is the 3rd drive, yet to run the ball. It's Shatan Mobley. First carry, redshirt freshman Drell Green, Ben Holt combined to make the tackle. Shatan Mobley, recruited, was a linebacker coming to Middle Tennessee, sat out last year, gained some weight, didn't lose some weight. He is 6'1", 235, had a couple of touchdowns in their 2nd game of the season against Tennessee Martin. And with the injury to Brad Anderson, who was really maybe their best running back, he's starting to see some more time. Quick pass on the side. That one is running down the field. Zach Dobson, freshman wide receiver, starting to get some more time as well, and he gets a first down.
You know, Middle Tennessee was talking to us before the game about trying to get some speed from the receiver, and Dobson, the true freshman, you can see his speed as he's coming across the field. You can see Western Kentucky's having a hard time catching up to him, and a lot of misdirection, subtle moves in the backfield that really make, if you just pause for a second, you're a step late as a defense.
Again, quick pass, this to Patrick Smith.
Man, that is such a quick release. I don't even know if Brent Stockstill has the laces. It's coming out that fast, which a lot of times is the case. When you're in shotgun, you don't know if you're getting the ball, and you know if you're going to have time. You just want to get it out into your playmaker's hands.
And they're using a whole bunch of different receivers. And again, you said trying to get some speed. Zeke Cobb seeing some action. Just the 3rd game this season. He only has 1 catch this year. We talked about Dobson. So they're trying to find their playmakers in November on a season that is 5-3 and 4-1 in conference. Stockstill, lots of pump fakes. Tavares Thomas, the intended receiver, but not trying to discover some traffic. Let's go back to the last play.
All right, Ty Lee's on the outside. He's going to block downfield. He goes low, and then watch him get up just a little bit slow. Watching the play afterwards. Yeah, he looks like he got kicked in the back a little bit. Just a little bit, said, hey, let me get out, get a rest. But good to see him back on the field right away. I think he actually got kicked in the back there when he went down.
So 3rd and 3. Western Kentucky blinks just 3. Throws it to the other side. Smith spins out of the first tackle and cleaned up.
Man, Jason, when you watch Brent Stockstill play quarterback, he has such an awareness of where everybody is on the field. That ball was going around, he was looking all over, and he knew where to go with the football late as his last option. And I think they thought about it for a second. We're like, hold on, we're at midfield. It's early in the game. Let's kick this thing away. Our defense is doing all right. I think this is the smart move, too.
They're racing the punt unit on. Matt Bonnety's the senior from Georgia. And they were going to run a fake, and Western Kentucky called timeout right before.
Timeout. Western Kentucky. They're first. 30 seconds.
The snap went to Tavares Thomas, the up man, and he was going to take it right through the middle.
And a lot of times, if you're a coach on the sideline right there, you can hear some of the audibles, and you can hear that it's a little bit different. And that's a Western Kentucky very heads-up play from the coaches on the sideline, recognizing something was suspicious. And Coach Stockstill saying, man, they got us. Tried to sneak it out there. I didn't love the call. Now, of course, if he would have got it, everybody would have loved it. But I still think the smarter play would be to punt it away.
Well, now
Well,
you just showed them.
Yeah, you're not
now
gonna
you just showed them. Would you bring the offense back out?
Well, if you're going to go for it, yes, because you're not going to run a back-to-back fake.
And they are going to bring the offense onto the field.
It's a lot of confidence.
But here's the question, though. So you run the fake, you're going to get them off kilter. At this point, you either punt it. I mean, you don't go.
No, yeah.
If you were going to go for it with the fake, you might as well just go for it.
Yep.
Under center, Stockstill flips it. And Mobley has the first down inside the 40. Chaton Mobley.
Did I mention I love going for it on fourth down? I love it. No, I do love the aggressive mindset. And if you got trust and confidence, I love the misdirection too. Faking the jet sweep and then just kicking it out to Mobley, who's 6'1", 235 pounds. That's why he's not going down at first contact. He loves it. He's excited. Nothing enthuses your team like going for it and getting it on fourth.
He stays in on 1st and 10. Stockstill back to the air. Almost picked off and almost caught. Almost picked off again.
I think was that not picked? I thought he did have his hands under it, but by his reaction.
Deontay Ruffin, the last of the three to have a shot at it.
If you're Ruffin, you got to come up and sell it. 1 tip, 2 tips, and then clearly bounces. That's why. But still, I like to sell it a little bit. They got to come up and celebrate. At least make them look at it.
Ben Holt, the linebacker you highlighted at the beginning of the game, was the first to get his hands on it. This is an important drive here for Western Kentucky. They already forced a 4th down, had an opportunity at a takeaway. Stockstill in the pocket behind Casey, roughing the corner on coverage. And Brent Stockstill, we've seen this a lot here tonight. A guy who has started as many games as he has after passes that aren't working, directing traffic with his wide receivers.
He's essentially another coach on the field. That's how comfortable he is with the system, telling guys where to go, and that's what you would expect. 5th-year senior, has been around football his whole life, knows every in and out of this offense.
Been here in Murfreesboro with his dad 13 years. Pressure comes, dumps it down, looking for Mobley. Coverage was there. Masai White, their 5th-year senior linebacker.
They had the matchup they want. They went cover 2 man, so 2 safeties, man all across the board. So you got a linebacker against a back, and he's just going to run across his face. There's nothing you can do about it. Just a well-defended pass from White. And Clayton White, the defense coordinator, called him out, said he's a guy who gives us big plays in 3rd downs. We need to get off the field. It's exactly what he provided.
13 of Matt Bonnety's 31 punts this year have been fair caught. This one trying to pin him inside the 15 and left that a little short. Comes up at the 16-yard line. Only a 22-yard punt for Bonnety's. Now these two teams on the East Division, the West Division for Conference USA, UAB has already beaten Louisiana Tech, so really would have to lose twice to not make it to Conference USA's championship game. And really a phenomenal story with Bill Clark. Remember, 2 years ago, they weren't playing football. UAB, it was canceled after the 2014 season. Bill Clark stayed there, kept the program, fought to get it reinstated. Last year, they go to a bowl game. And Danny, in year 2 back, they might be playing for a championship.
It's remarkable to think about that program, where it was non-existent, and emotional that, how emotional it was for those players. I remember them crying when their program was taken away from them. They finally get it back, and you're expecting it to be a long, slow process. Here they are, right back in the thick of things.
And they are taking advantage of some of the teams they've played. 3 of the 7 wins for UAB this season have been shutouts. And it really doesn't matter who you're playing, when you get a shutout, it doesn't matter.
Today's game of college football, when everybody puts up points, that's really impressive.
Now the Hilltoppers got points on their last drive, but each of the first 2 drives, they have marched it inside the 30. Drew Eccles, just joining us, back in the starting lineup for the first time since week 2. Dumps it down. Samuel out of the backfield, maybe 2. Hudson making the stop from the corner spot. So 3rd down and about 6. Coming up, we'll call it 5 for Western Kentucky. Well, remember, this is a Hilltoppers team that came into this game 1-7. 4 losses by 3 points on the year. No longer in contention for a bowl game. First time that's happened for them since 2010, where they haven't been bowl eligible. Blitz comes on 3rd. Eccles steps up in the pocket. underarms it for Dean, and again, he's getting it out there. He had his receiver open, just overshot him.
I get the flip as a last resort, but I thought Drew Eccles had a chance there to just make a normal throw, and he had a wide open guy to go to. Let's see if Drew Eccles really had a defensive lineman hanging on him where he couldn't make that throw. See, on the outside, I think he can make that throw if he throws it normal. And he's got Dean sitting there wide open. There's a run down the field on the outside, nothing there. He wasn't trying to throw that one on the outside, but he had the underneath throw he could have made.
Ranella with pressure in his face, sending Ty Lee all the way back. And it's going to take a Hilltoppers bounce and come to a stop at the 20. 57-yard punt for Alex Ranella. The longest he's hit of the season. And he will back Middle Tennessee up. And so they will start at the 20 as we take a look at tonight's Go RVing road trip backs for Johnny Red Floyd Stadium. It is named after the legendary coach Johnny Red Floyd, who coached here in 1917 when he was 25 years old. And coached football and basketball at Vanderbilt before coming back to Middle Tennessee, winning undefeated seasons in 1935. And he's watching a Middle Tennessee team with Mobley breaking a tackle. Shaton Mobley getting all the yards back from the punt. Finally tracked down at the 22. Antoine Kincaid chasing him down, but not before 58 yards.
I mean, have you noticed the theme, Jason, that Middle Tennessee's offense has just been rattling off play after play? Just a zone option up front with the zone blocking scheme, and Mobley just gets the corner. And what'd you say, he put on 20 pounds? Maybe if he didn't put on 20 pounds, he might have taken that one to the house. That's the problem when you put on that weight. You can run over guys. You can't run away from him anymore, though.
Well, he's up to 235.
Yep.
This time they string it out. Ben Holt, Masai White. One up top, one below. Tavares Thomas, who's 245 himself.
Yep, they got some big dudes in the backfield.
And the one they've lost is Brad Anderson. He was their receiver out of the backfield, 27 catches this year. He was a guy that maybe could take it, had some speed. He's out for the year with an ankle injury, so they do have the two guys, and then Terrell West, who's the redshirt junior, but he's 205. Stockstill, quick release again. Thomas reversing field, and he's not going anywhere. Brought down in the backfield, Carson Jordan.
Little bit chippy is what you would expect from a rivalry game. These guys see each other every year, only 100 miles apart. They're talking a little bit of trash. You would expect that. This play was kind of dead from the get-go because the outside, just when you see 3-4 Western Kentucky defenders corralling that play.
Inside of 2 minutes here in the opening quarter, Middle Tennessee took the first drive, 75 yards in 6 plays. Here it's 3rd and 15. Pocket hold, Stockstill down the middle on a rope, and it's almost intercepted. Drell Green had his hands on it, took it away from Patrick Smith, and it's 4th and 15. They'll bring out the field goal unit.
Man, that was a lot of trust from Stockstill, and he almost made an incredible throw. Throws it way before his receiver made his break, just trusting him to be there, and almost gets across the face of number 9, Drell Green. Green almost comes up with that play. He was sitting back there looking at the ball thinking, is he throwing it to me? Because he didn't know that receiver was supposed to be coming across. I think he was kind of surprised.
So on the year, Cruz Holt is 4 of 8. He's perfect inside of 40. This, though, from 42, where he has yet to hit on the year until now. So the career long for the redshirt sophomore. And the Blue Raiders back up a touchdown. Along with Danny Cannell, Jason Horowitz back with you in Murfreesboro, 10-3 Middle Tennessee. Getting set to kick off after the field goal, but before the break, Mike Sanford really excited from his guys because
He'll take
got
that
off the
any day.
field.
Yeah, absolutely. The way Middle Tennessee has been driving up and down the field, you had the long play from Mobley. They're saying, hey, we'll take a stop, force a field goal every single time.
183 yards for Middle in the opening quarter. And Green is coming out of the end zone, and he's drilled. That is Mobley, who had the 58-yard run on offense. And now the play on special teams as well.
That's when it pays off to have that extra 20 pounds. You can deliver hits like that. Flying across the screen, huh?
It's one of those when you spin around and you have no idea what's coming.
No, none.
So back to work, Drew Eccles. Off of a 3-and-out on the last drive. But 118 yards here in the opening quarter for an offense that's been searching all year.
Now the question is, can they finish a drive? Like I said, Middle Tennessee will let them drive the length of the field. Let them have 8-9 play drives. Just don't let them score touchdowns.
Appleberry breaks a tackle through a couple of defenders, dragged down by Khalil Brooks, their outstanding linebacker, but Appleberry with a first down run.
You know, Mike Sanford told us that Appleberry had a great feel for the game. Watch the sliver. There's no hole there, just that little bounce, and that hole is tiny and just burst to the next level, and a pretty nice block by Sloan,
who himself in this ball game has made a catch of more than 50 yards. Eccles back to the air. Coverage is good down the field. Lucky Jackson, jump ball and can't find it. Hudson the corner in coverage. Lucky Jackson had a 93-yard touchdown in this game last year. That could have been a long play.
And that's a play that, you know, you got to make that play for your quarterback. And I might find you sound like a little bit like a quarterback. Coming from the inside, run a wheel route. This is a jump ball. This is a 50-50 ball. You come back. Maybe I should give a little credit to Cordell Hudson because he did get a hand back in there, that left hand back in there to break it up. Maybe I'm being too hard on Lucky Jackson. But 50-50 balls. So go back to him, give another one because you know it's coming next time. Love the deep shot, though. Keep the defense honest.
They've been doing that here in the opening quarter. Eccles on play action. Again, going down the field. Sloan made the grab and inbounds. Jaquez Sloan out to the 46 on a 16-yard pickup.
Boy, just running play action, go right back to it, down the field on a deep corner route. And I thought Eccles was just a sliver late. That set up his feet. But if you're late, you could put a little extra oomph on the ball. And remember what Sanford told us yesterday? He said he'd been waiting for him. He'd saw a couple throws he couldn't make. He was still worried about him. But this week, said he had that heater. Showed it right there.
81 yards for Sloan here in the opening quarter. His career high is 87. Pressure comes, dumped down below. Dean has the grab. Darius Harris, we're all over it.
Oh, it's outstanding job from Darius Harris coming up, recognizing the crossing route from the get-go and making a nice open field tackle. If he misses that, if he comes up short, that ball's going to get to the outside. It's going to be a 30-yard gain.
Entertaining first quarter, explosive plays on both sides. 10-3, Middle Tennessee's got the lead. You're watching college football on CBS Sports Network, presented by Geico. Very entertaining opening quarter with 334 yards of offense between the two teams. And these two teams, again, separated by just 100 miles. 68th all-time meeting. Middle Tennessee, 2 more wins over Western Kentucky. But 4 of the last 6 games, and each of the last 3 here in Murfreesboro, have gone to overtime, and they've needed at least 2 overtimes in 4 of the last 6. We'll see what happens tonight, but again, the offense was the thing in question for both these coaches coming into the game. Coach Stockstill's been looking for speed. Coach Sanford's been looking for a quarterback. They both have found that here in the opening quarter. Western Kentucky, 2nd and 7. Drew Eccles in that opening quarter, 5 of 13, but he did throw for 97 yards. Back to the air. In and out of the hands. Josh Samuel, running back out of the backfield. So here comes 3rd and 7.
Josh Samuel was one of the guys who spoke this week because it was a rough week. They're 1-7, so Western Kentucky basically comes to the realization they're not going to be able to go to a bowl game. Josh Samuel was one of the players who spoke up and said, we're not going to quit. We're not going to hang up our season just yet. We're going to play for our seniors, guys like Drew Eccles, guys who are never going to be able to play football again after this season, trying to play for some pride.
Pick up the blitz. They can't pick up the second man. Jamal Jones, his 2nd sack of the season. The 6th-year player out of Dallas forces 4th.
Jamal Jones just straight off the edge. Just came up, fought through it. And Eccles almost got to the outside. Love the celebration there. It's pretty solid.
Not nearly as good as the dance by the 8-year-olds that was on the field.
That's right.
In between quarters. Now, Middle had 5 sacks in this game last year. That's the first. Ranella punts it away again. He had a 57-yarder his last time, and this one's bouncing into the end zone. And this also 57 yards. Well, tomorrow we got a quadruple header of college football on CBS Sports Network starting at noon Eastern with the decisive battle for the Commander-in-Chief's Trophy Series as Air Force flies into West Point. Will face the Army Black Knights, and we'll end the night with number 23 Fresno State in Las Vegas take on the Running Rebels. It's only on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Ben Holden, Jay Feely, Tina Cervasio will be in West Point tomorrow afternoon to start the day. Air Force already beat Navy this year, and because Army won the Commander-in-Chief last year, they will keep it if they beat Air Force regardless of what happens in the Navy game. Stockstill takes off on first down. Back to the line of scrimmage. A couple of good drives that have really been with the big play here for Middle Tennessee. A 43-yard touchdown pass on the opener. 58-yard run from Mobley on the last drive. In between, though, they've kind of struggled to get some plays going.
Both teams have a little bit. There's been a couple big plays here and there. But the last 2 or 3 drives just slowed down a little bit.
Mobley has 3 carries already, a career-high 75 yards. Stockstill back to the air, has Salter, and it's through his hands.
He's also had a couple drop balls, and that's exactly what that was by Tavon Salter.
He's struggling to get up on the sideline. Went right through his hands, and he came right to the turf.
Ooh, that right leg, you can tell, just got caught up in the turf.
Now he's far enough on the sideline that play will continue here on 3rd and 10. The training staff has moved him a little bit farther back. So again, they are already short with some receivers. Jimmy Marshall is hurt. Jock Bruce is hurt. So they're going to some young guys, and they'll have to again. Stockstill, all kinds of time, looking downfield, trying to keep it alive, and it's short of Patrick Smith. Coming back to the ball, but Stockstill left it short.
We talked to Clayton White before, and he said, I got to do some things to confuse. Watch these safeties here. Look how wide they are. So you're thinking, I have this whole middle of the field that I'm going to work with if you're Stockstill. But watch what happens at the snap. Safety comes over to the middle, kind of goes to a cloud cover 3 coverage, and that's why Stockstill was just a little bit confused at the end. He was thinking, uh-oh, they changed up coverage on me. That's why I don't think his first intended receiver was there.
Stockstill started this game 4 of 5. He's only hit 6 of his last 16. Bonnity's again, not a ton of hang time, but it gives his team a chance to get down there. And a Middle Tennessee bounce inside the 35. Down at the 32. 48 on the punt for Bonnity's. Here in November on a Friday night. Home crowd up by 7. Well, Rick Stockstill said he liked his defense coming into the season. They lost a bunch of safeties early who are now all back, and this defense starting to fire on all cylinders.
They've been flying around, batting down balls, getting pressure on Drew Eccles, coming up, making nice open field tackles, and then finished it off with a sack, Jamal Jones from the outside. And really, aside from the first 2 drives of both teams, the offense has just not looked comfortable. And I think the thing that these defenses have done, they've taken away the short underneath passes, forcing some lower percentage down the field throws.
That number, they're 88th in the nation in terms of yards allowed. They gave up 520 last week to Old Dominion. Now, the Monarchs have a somewhat explosive offense, and they only gave up 17 points. But a couple of interceptions that they took back for touchdowns. This is slip screen. Jaquez Sloan cleaned up by Moffitt, one of those safeties who was hurt early on, who is now back in. But again, Western Kentucky on the other side, their issue has been quarterbacks. Drew Eccles started the first 2 games this year, dislocated shoulders in each game. They went to Duncan, they've gone to Davis Shanley, they've had to go back and forth, and tonight they've gotten to go back to the 5th-year senior in Drew Eccles.
Well, you've heard the saying, when you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. What do you do when you have 3? It's the same problem, and really it has been because of injury, and that's the one thing, like Mike Sanford feels a lot more comfortable with Eccles out there. You see Jaquez Sloan, who was their go-to guy, the guy that they love to get big plays, going in the medical tent to get observed.
And already tonight, Sloan 89 yards receiving, which is a career high for the sophomore out of Atlanta, who dropped 15 pounds in the offseason. Sloan, talking to Mike Sanford yesterday with Drew Eccles, the conversation, could we take the deep shots? He said, absolutely. And he said, Sloan really starting to come on. Davis Shanley in the backup role tonight. Started the last 3. Eccles on 3rd and 3. Decided to take off, bad decision. Khalil Brooks, the first one there. Jamal Jones cleaned it up, and that'll bring up 4th down.
If you're going to roll out to your left, what Eccles does, and you pull up, you better make sure you don't get your head knocked off, because those guys are coming. Your pocket, your alignment are thinking you're going to continue rolling to the outside, and that's why he loses protection at the last second. Says, uh-oh, I got to try to get this first on my own, and it's too late. Again, nice pursuit of the football by Jamal Jones, number 43 from Middle Tennessee.
Alex Rannella's been a weapon tonight. That one was tipped. He went down, but they got to it. The bounce, though, didn't make a difference. All the way inside the 20. So a 45-yard punt despite the deflection for Alex Rannella, who is having the best night punting of his career.
He had the nice roll that time, getting out of there, and the snap was floated back there just a little bit. Middle Tennessee almost had it. If Middle Tennessee's offense can get back on track.
Now, Steve Lamantia said the punt from Alex Rannella was tipped. He said it immediately. Let's go back and look at it, because not only was it tipped, but there's a little extra at the end of this.
It's a rivalry game, and then, you know, when you block a kick, you can then hit the punter. But I don't think this is in the spirit of the rule when you give a little extra yank to the punter's kicking leg.
I'm pretty sure there's a WWE event at Bridgestone Arena in Nashville about 45 minutes from here coming up in the next couple of weeks. But Alex Rannella still got that one 45 yards.
Yeah. A little extra roll on the end. And they've been getting closer and closer, Middle Tennessee has, to blocking a punt, something to keep an eye on.
Mobley on 1st down. Holtz stands him up. So maybe 1 for Mobley. Tavon Salter is back on the field for Middle Tennessee on the last drive. Leg kind of got caught in the field turf, but he is back here. And again, they're shorthanded on the receivers. Ty Lee is really their guy. After that, they're trying to figure out here still in November who is their 2nd guy. That's Smith in motion. Back to Mobley. Hurdles the defensive line out to the 21. So he picked up 4. Antoine Kincaid made the tackle, 3rd and 6. We had 40-yard plays, 50-yard plays. This game's kind of come to a little bit of a halt here early in the 2nd quarter.
It has. I'm telling you, the shorter underneath stuff has been taken away, so they're having to take shots down the field, and neither team is having much success.
Smith and Salter, bottom of your screen. Ty Lee, the go-to receiver. He's at the top. He's in the slot.
Man across the board.
Hilltoppers bring just 4. Stockstill dances in the pocket, hangs in there, and it's caught, drilled. Gatlin Casey was just drilled. Darden made the hit, and a late flag thrown in from behind.
Well, the initial reaction, when you hear a hit like that, you're wondering if it's targeting because of the contact, and I think that's what the officials are going to talk about. And sometimes it's so hard to tell at fast motion if it was, and what the officials are going to do, and when in doubt, they're going to throw it.
Personal foul, targeting on the defense. It's a 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down. The play is under review.
So they will bring that upstairs to our replay official, Paul Jones, as we take a look at this with you.
Here's Stockstill hanging on to it for a long time. Comes back, finally finds a receiver down the field. And there you see number 15 coming up. Darden catches him right in the shoulder pad.
Does he lower the helmet? Does he hit with the crown of the helmet?
And that's what the officials are trying to determine. This one, it's going to be a really tough call, I think. I don't think it's as clear-cut as some of them are. And this is where I like the way college football does it as opposed to the NFL, where you can review it, you can look at it, you can see slow motion and try to get a better feel for exactly where it was. Did he have forcible contact with the crown of the helmet to the neck or head of a defenseless opponent?
He definitely leads with the crown of his helmet, but that is to the shoulder. But remember, the rule with the forcible contact, if you lead with the crown of your helmet with the indicators, is that for the defensive player, when you lead with the crown of your helmet, it doesn't necessarily matter where you make the hit. It's to protect the defensive player as well.
And it's the head or neck area, which it looked pretty high. If I was guessing on this one, I would think he's going to get ejected from the game. I think that does fit the definition. Well, that shows you how tough it is some of these times to call this. I mean, we slowed it down. You're looking at it, and you can see where is it defined. And so the shoulder area is what they're looking at, and you can tell by Darden's reaction.
He looks like he's staying in the game. Let's find out.
After review, there's no targeting on the field. The result of the play was a first down at the 35-yard line.
And so Darden will stay in this game.
And see, that's where I like the way college football does it. If you see it in real time, fast, full speed, you're thinking, oh man, that was a vicious hit. It has to be targeting. And when you slow it down, you can really make the evaluation. Where was it, the head or neck, or was it the shoulder pad?
Hand off to Terrell West on first down. Masai White, the tackle. Remember, the other thing too is when they start looking for the indicators. Was there a launch? Was there a crouch and then a jerk in the upward motion? None of that was there, and you saw Darden attempt to wrap up. So when all of that is there and there's the hit to the shoulder, you can stay in. Not the case for Devin White tomorrow for LSU.
And that one was definitely not targeting. That's my biggest problem with that one.
2 yards on first down, back to the air. It's Lee making the grab. Darden brings him to the turf, out to the 43. This will be 3rd and 2 coming up for Middle Tennessee, and they're just 2 of 7 here on 3rd down tonight. Heavy package brought in for Middle Tennessee. Ty Watkins wearing number 85, 290 pounds. Offensive lineman wearing a tight end's number. Joseph Sewell is the H-back. Both of those players, the extra blockers for the 235-pound running back, Shaitan Mobley, here on 3rd and 2. It's Mobley up the middle. Holt brought him down. Did he get past the 45? He did, and it's enough for a first down.
Boy, nice job up front from the offensive line, getting some push up front. Allow a little hole to create, get the conversion there. And that feels like that was a big 3rd down. Like, this Middle Tennessee offense sputtered a little bit. They need to sustain a drive.
Stockstill on the reverse. Middle Tennessee, it's Dobson with the speed inside the 30. Key tracked him down, but an explosive play for the Blue Raiders of more than 20.
Right, this is where Western Kentucky gets a little bit off kilter in their positioning. Watch the defensive pressure come on this side, but watch what happens when the ball comes across. They recognize it too late. They crash down and lose contained on the outside, and once you lose contained, it's open field. Off to the races.
5 foot, 870-pound freshman having an impact. That's deflected, and it's behind Salter.
Remember the first touchdown of the game to Ty Lee? Similar route, similar concept, man-to-man coverage, back shoulder throw. That time just a little bit too far behind, and Salter didn't recognize it, couldn't adjust fast enough.
9th play of the drive coming up for Middle Tennessee. So you talked about sustaining a drive. They're starting to do that. Certainly in position to at least attempt to get some points. Back to pass. Stockstill over the head of one guy, and it's caught for the second receiver. Isaiah Upton making the grab.
Stockstill's like a crafty left-handed pitcher in baseball, like able to use different speeds, different locations. That time took a little bit off the ball. His receiver wasn't ready, put a little touch on the football.
That's the first catch of the season for Upton. Stockstill hung on to that one for a while. And Mobley takes on one tackler and gets down to the 10. We talked about using different players in this game. Dobson came into this game without a catch. He had 2 carries on the season. We've seen both. Upton's got his first grab of the season. Zeke Cobb is seeing some action. They are taking advantage of some of the youngsters here in game number 9. Mobley, one more time to the 6, and that'll set up 1st and goal for the Blue Raiders.
Man, you remember Derrick Henry for Alabama. He was about 6'3", 245. Mobley's just like a smaller version of him. Big running back who's really tough to bring down.
Looks like a guy that they are going to like for a long time. And they struggled to run the football last year. Injuries at the position. Same story this year. Mobley cuts it upfield. Green the first one in there, making him back in towards the line. So 2nd and goal, and another important stand here for Clayton White. 2nd-year defensive coordinator for the Hilltoppers.
Boy, he would love nothing more than to get out of this drive with a field goal.
Hilltoppers showed blitz, and Stockstill backs out of it. Plenty of time on the play clock.
It's part of the chess match with college football now. You do the double cadence, look over, try to make an adjustment after you see what the defense is going to do.
Stockstill looks to the right, back of the end zone, over the head of Lee. Darden in coverage, and here comes 3rd and goal.
Boy, Lee just trying to slip in the back of the end zone. Nice little slant route, gets caught in a little bit of traffic. And just that little bump from Darden across the middle threw Ty Lee off the point of where he was supposed to be.
14th play of a drive that started inside the Blue Raiders' own 20. And Stockstill's going to take a timeout. Up a touchdown. Wanting to punch this one in.
Tennessee. 32nd.
And the Blue Raiders are left with 1. Well, join our Tops crew bright and early Sunday morning at 8 Eastern as they get you ready for another jam-packed day of the NFL. Don't miss the unmatched analysis, the bold predictions for our football experts on that other pregame show right here on CBS Sports Network. Brandon Tierney, Adam Schein and company, 8 a.m. Eastern on Sunday. Saints trying to hand the Rams their first loss of the year.
Oh, there's some great NFL matchups this weekend.
Aaron Rodgers saying Tom Brady's the greatest of all time. Surprised he didn't say Danny Cannell.
And it might be the last time those two ever square off in a regular season.
You're not feeling the Packers to come back and make the Super Bowl?
I said regular season.
That's
right.
why.
Just in case there are some Packers fans listening, I wouldn't write them off. Although the Saints and the Rams do look like the best of the best. All right, so this is a big play here for Middle Tennessee. Western Kentucky, that last second now, brought some pressure. This is where that chess match. You can't do the same thing or else Brent Stockstill and his dad will have a plan for it. And mix up coverages. After the timeout, Western Kentucky struggling to get lined up, the right personnel in.
And they didn't do it. Thompson sweeping around. Thompson into the end zone. The freshman scores for the first time in his career. And Middle Tennessee up 2 scores.
Just a shovel pass coming in motion right in front of you. This is a touchdown pass, Jason, by the way. Dobson, if you're going to score your first touchdown, you better do it in style. Just takes off a la Reggie Bush style. Find her way to the end zone.
5 yards officially on the pass. Second touchdown pass of the night for Stockstill. Holt bangs through the extra point. A 14-play, 83-yard drive capped off in style by the freshman. Now, Western Kentucky had a couple of chances to get off the field. That is Ben Holt. And Danny, you called him the emotional leader of this defense. I'd call this emotional.
Yep, he's fired up. He's saying, hey, we can't, it's not acceptable. We had a chance, 3rd down to get a stop. Didn't get it. He's waiting for somebody to respond around him. And that's kind of the theme of the season for Clayton White, the defense coordinator in this Western Kentucky defense. They played good at times, just can't put an entire game together.
They gave up that 98-yard drive to Marshall at the end of that game when they had the lead. Ended up losing that 20-17, and this was the drive. 83 yards, 14 plays, and Zach Dobson was a 3-star recruit out of Knoxville, Tennessee, right there in the Vols' backyard, Fulton High School. And it's one of those things, this is only the 4th game of the year, so if they were thinking in spots of where they could use him and then he could still have that red shirt, that's certainly a possibility. Out from the 5. And at the 27-yard line, LaFrance takes it for Western Kentucky. As we take a look at our independent craft brewery top 25 scoreboard, already a team in the top 25 with a win this week. UCF coming back from double digits down yesterday to beat Temple, make it 21 games in a row for the 12th ranked team in the college football playoff standings. Virginia, possibility at the ACC championship. Pittsburgh, by the way, at 4-4, but 3-1 in the conference, has that as well. And then 2 huge games tomorrow on CBS. Winner in Lexington has the East Division, and if Alabama goes into Baton Rouge and wins, they'll be locking in a spot for the SEC championship as well. Samuel on first down, back to the line of scrimmage. Harris making the stop. Well, so if you're Western Kentucky, Jaquez Sloan had some big plays. Now he went out on that last drive with an injury. Pitching it back. Ja'Cour Pearson in Middle Tennessee read it the whole way. Reed Blankenship, this week's Nagurski Award Defensive Player of the Week, making the stop.
Coming all the way from the secondary, recognizing it. The misdirection comes up, making the open field tackle, and this is a spot that Western Kentucky has not had much success in tonight. 3rd and long, and credit to Middle Tennessee for making tackles on 1st and 2nd down, not giving up any big plays, keeping guys in front of them.
And again, who's the go-to, right? Sloan on the sidelines, not on the field. Blue Raiders showing pressure. They bring 6. Eccles escapes, throws it out. Pearson, but well short of the marker. Didn't make the catch anyway, and so a 3-and-out after that 14-play drive. So now if you're Mike Sanford as well, they weren't sure they'd have Drew Eccles to start the game. They knew the plan was to work him in. He had a couple of good drives, took Western Kentucky inside the 30 on their opening 2 drives. Starting to stall. They've had 3 3-and-outs. You think about going back to Davis Shanley, who's played the redshirt freshman?
I would not be surprised, because I feel like the reason he started Drew Eccles was to get more production out of the offense. If it's sputtering, I would not be surprised if you go back to the youth movement.
One more time, Ranella bangs a long punt. This one rolls dead right at the 15-yard line. 57 for the 2nd time tonight for the 4th-year junior, but the home crowd in a rivalry game enjoying the first half. Jason Horwitz, Danny Cannell back with you in Murfreesboro. Be sure to stay with us for the Verizon Halftime Report. Brent Stover, Kevin Carter, catch up on all the action around the country. They'll get you ready for the busy weekend of college football. Massive games, 4 between top 20 teams, including Kentucky at home for Georgia. Danny, one of your surprise teams of the year.
I think Kentucky has been the biggest surprise. Extended their kind of success last week on the road versus Missouri with an incredible late finish. They'd have gotten away with a little pass interference gifted call to them.
Maybe.
Well, I was trying to be nice, give them credit, but they got a monster game. And then some of the biggest surprises have come, outside of the Power 5. Derek King is tearing it up at Houston. Darrell Henderson, who I saw earlier this year from Memphis, on the ground. And then Cole McDonald out of Hawaii is having a phenomenal year as well, throwing it.
So after forcing a 3-and-out, Middle Tennessee back to work on offense. Ty Lee takes it out to the 25. He gets 9 before Darden makes the tackle.
All right, just 4 minutes, 45 seconds left in the half. You're Western Kentucky, you need a stop here, or else this game could get sideways in a hurry. So this is one I would try to dial up some pressure maybe for Clayton White, try to get your guys in a good spot. The thing is, if you do that, you risk big plays down the field.
Mobley picks up the first down, gets 3. Holt, the emotional leader, making the tackle. But the other thing, though, of Clayton White, he said one of the best things that he has seen in his 2 years in Conference USA is Brent Stockstill reading pressure, knowing where to go with the football when they come.
And that makes you a little bit nervous to dial those up, because a lot of times you confuse a quarterback, catch him, maybe blindside him, you get him not expecting it, but he knows so much of recognizing what you're doing.
And again, he throws it down. Mobley, upended, Ruffin, went down low to flip Mobley.
That's where I'm going. If I'm roughing, I'm going low every time against Mobley. That's a big dude coming out here. It's like a big tree. You chop it at the bottom. Comes down the same way.
I think Middle Tennessee, though, has found something out of the backfield. They've been searching for their running back. Tavares Thomas was the spark last year when he switched from linebacker to running back. This year it's Mobley after playing linebacker when he was recruited here to Middle Tennessee. They found something in the backfield. Now false start. That's on Amir Luckett, starting right tackle.
False start. Number 77 in the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Lockett, right tackle. Just getting a little bit too excited, getting antsy, trying to get in pass protection.
First penalty of the night for either team. So after the 5-yard, 2nd and 13. Mobley chased down from behind. D'Angelo Malone, who Clayton White called his best playmaker on defense. So going slower, had the first down inside of 3 minutes. 1 timeout left for Middle Tennessee and a 2-touchdown lead with a 3rd and 10 coming up. Stockstill keeping the play alive. Lofts one near side, nowhere near Ty Lee. Malone, the playmaker, with the pressure. And that'll bring up 4th down, and Western Kentucky got the needed stop.
Jason, remember I told you about the man-to-man matchups outside? Look at a man-to-man coming up, bump and run, and that takes away a lot of the underneath concepts. And so Brent Stockstill's back there saying, I want to get rid of it, I want to get rid of it, and he's got nobody to go to. Finally flushed in the pocket, forced to throw it away. So that's the stop that Western Kentucky needed defensively. Now can their offense convert?
Western Kentucky won the coin toss as well, so a possibility of a 2-for-1. Cray comes up and makes the fair catch at the 39. 33-yard punt and no return. So a 2-touchdown lead for Rick Stockstill's team as we take a look at our Bud Light inside tracks. Why have things gone so well the last 5 weeks? Well, turnover differential. First 4 games, -1. Last 4, +7 for Middle Tennessee.
Jason, you hear it all the time. When you hear guys break down games, break down tape, a lot of times it's pretty simple. You can't turn the ball over, and you want to create them on defense. It really is.
Last week, right around this time, Old Dominion down 2 touchdowns. Went down the field, inside the 5, and Middle Tennessee had a pick 6. What happens at the end of this first half? Eccles to Fortenberry, and it's at his feet. Now this is the problem, though. No Jacquez Sloan. He has officially been ruled out of this game. So they have lost their biggest playmaker.
But you asked me earlier about a quarterback change, and that was a throw right there that Eccles should have made. Like, that was underthrown, and you wonder, he's got both shoulder issues coming down. That just looked like a throw you should make. It'll be interesting to see if maybe at halftime Mike Sanford goes back to Shanley. But you don't want to get caught flipping quarterbacks every half. You don't want that. I know that's probably what he's fighting against. But sometimes, the production speaks for itself.
Eccles for Jernigan. Makes the grab in front of Darryl Randolph. Backs his way out to the 49. He picked up 9 as we dip inside of 2 minutes.
And now it's up to somebody else to step up. With Sloan out, somebody else has got to make a play. That was a very nicely thrown ball in a tight window by Eccles. Just pinned it right on Jernigan's chest.
To the ground. First down. Samuel bounces off 1 tackle, gets to the 44. Rasheem Collins, the defensive tackle, made the stop. And again, Shanley was the expected starter coming into the night. He has started 4 this season, including the last 3. But Eccles is healthy enough. He was the season starter, so he got the go, and they moved it early. Back to the air. Eccles. And it's in and out of the hands of Jernigan.
What did I just say? Somebody has to step up and make a play. That was one. Jernigan last time, Eccles put it right on him, made the catch. Press coverage is pretty good defense. Might have got there a little bit, girl. Again, Randolph, was it him last time I didn't give enough credit? Because he had that left hand in there, broke that pass up. That's one where you got to use your body a little bit more if you're Jernigan. Almost like you're throwing a ball to a low post player in basketball. Use your body so he can't get in there and break it up.
Eccles over the middle, almost intercepted. Moffitt looking for the interception, and we just talked about it. They had that last week. The turnover margin has been huge for Middle Tennessee, and they almost came up with one.
See where Eccles is looking? He's looking all the way at the right side of the field, loses that backside safety, and Moffitt, who comes all the way, recognized it, almost made really nice pick.
Well, and you've been talking about playing press coverage. You've been talking about jamming receivers all night, really, for both teams. But without Jacquez Sloan, you're not worried about the guy getting behind you.
Nope.
That's Pearson, who has come in for Sloan. Eccles looks his way. That one's almost picked off. DQ Thomas should have had a pick six. Khalil Brooks drilled Eccles.
Boy, and DQ Thomas is going to be up all night thinking about this play. Coming off the edge, ball is right in his hands, has a pick six the other way, and doesn't come there. And Eccles, you're wondering, well, how can he throw it that way? He knows I got to get rid of this ball. I got Khalil Brooks hanging on me. I don't want to take a sack, but sometimes the sack is not a bad option.
Well, and now
I'm very lucky that wasn't returned.
On top of it, with 1:10 left in the half, you're going to give the ball back to Middle Tennessee, up 2 touchdowns. Fair catch called for and made at the 15. So 60 seconds to play as the clock continues to run. So they might want to relook at that because 4 more seconds came off the clock after the fair catch. What would you do if you're Rick Stockstill? You got a fifth-year senior quarterback.
I got my guy out there. I'm rolling. Let's go. You already run up tempo. I'm taking shots down the field. Hey, you're going to stop it on first downs. I'm thinking aggressive mindset here. I'm thinking touchdown or field goal all day long. A minute. Today's game, you're thinking I'm being aggressive.
They've got their heavy package out there with Ty Watkins. And they run the sweep. Thompson again. Zach Thompson out to the 34-yard line. He picks up 19 and gets out of bounds.
Well, that time you got the heavy package in there doesn't mean you can't still execute your offense. You wonder, though, if he did say, I'm going to run that run play, see what happens. I tell you what, Dobson's been a nice little speedy weapon for Middle Tennessee.
And again, a guy who came into this night, 0 career catches, only 2 rushing attempts, and that they're going to blow dead. Jawan Jones got off early.
Offsides on the defense, number 34. 5-yard penalty. First down.
First penalty on the Hilltoppers of the night. Again, a really big opportunity. Middle Tennessee has lost the last 3 to Western Kentucky. 4 of the last 6 have gone to at least 2 overtimes. An opportunity to have some massive confidence in the locker room. The screen to West. Gets the first down. That'll stop the clock until they set the chains with 38 seconds and 1 timeout remaining.
Keep it rolling. They better show a little bit of urgency here, though, and do something. Now that's what Brent Stockstill. Look at him looking for the play call, saying, what are we running? This is way too much time. You're just wasting.
Already 10 seconds off the clock. 13 before they got the playoff. And now a long play. Stockstill takes off. And he finally gets out of bounds. Salter was drilled. And now some jawing at the 50. And a late flag comes in. Eli Brown, the Kentucky transfer. And if this is going to go on Western Kentucky,
Western Kentucky's actually, they're asking for a targeting on the offense. Because actually you see Tavon Salter came back and he was the one that was actually looking out for a Western Kentucky player.
Eli Brown
took the worst of the brunt of the hit.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on the defense. That's a 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
I don't think this is the right call, Jason. I think when you look at it, and you see what Salter does coming the other way. Now, he took the brunt of the hit, so it looked like he was the guy that went down. But see him coming into your screen right at you. He's going to look up number 32, and then 32 just keeps on his path.
But it's what happened after the play when he looked.
The unsportsmanlike conduct foul was on number 32. That's his first unsportsmanlike conduct foul.
But it's what
So they're
happened
talking
after
trash.
the play. When he came back to Salter, stood right in his face and caught his team 15 yards. And so just like that,
Yeah.
Middle Tennessee's now in
Right
field
there.
goal range.
Yep. Boy, they could have used that 8 or 9 seconds, though, for an extra play that they wasted on that last one.
Still one timeout. Stockstill over the middle. Caught by Smith. Gets 10 yards. Inside of 10 seconds, and now Coach Stockstill takes the timeout.
Timeout.
Let's go back to the penalty again.
Their final.
Show you
30
what
seconds.
happened after the play. Now, you were talking about the hit from the wide receiver, but
Right.
take a look after what happens
So
from Eli Brown.
Yep. He actually delivers a pretty good blow and then goes right up and actually hits him a little, nudges him a little bit in the head. So a pretty good call coming all the way from the back judge. Saw it from a mile away. I thought they were going to call possibly a targeting because that's what the Western Kentucky players were signaling. They were saying, hey, that was a hit to the head, and it wasn't. And so the officials were on it.
So instead, Middle Tennessee set up here with 9 seconds. They're on a timeout, so they have sent the field goal unit on.
They see this is where that 7 or 8 seconds you could have taken one more shot at the end zone potentially. Instead, you're having to take the field goal here with 9 seconds. And maybe that's all you would have gotten anyway, but you never know.
39 yards from Holt, who was hit from 42 tonight. And he's 2 for 2. Cruz Holt puts Middle Tennessee up by 3 scores with 5 seconds to go before the half. Now this was a 7-3 ball game late in the first, 10-3 at the end of the first, and things have started to unravel here for Mike Sanford's team.
Yeah, I remember I told you, like, you had a feeling that Middle Tennessee could really kind of knock Western Kentucky out of this game, and it's been a rough year. You're 1-7. You got to keep this thing close if you're Mike Sanford, because you got to wonder about the psyche of your team. Western Kentucky gets the ball at halftime, coming out the second half. That's got to be your message if you're Mike Sanford at halftime. Is, hey, we're getting the ball, we're going to take it down, we're going to score, and we're going to fight our way back in this game. Because they've been close on a couple plays, they've had some opportunities, but this is where somebody on that offense has to step up with Sloan out.
And you wonder, too, you talked about the fact that they have been having tough locker rooms. 4 losses of those 7 by a field goal. Some of them at the end of the game, like Old Dominion 2 weeks ago. We haven't really seen those uncharacteristic dumb plays in this game until that one.
Right.
Bonnety's on the turf. And Leach, the backup tight end, takes it out to the 33. And that's going to take us to the half. 68th all-time meeting between Middle Tennessee and Western Kentucky. And it's the Blue Raiders trying to win for the first time in this series in 4 years with a 17-point lead. It's the end of the first half, 20-3.
Floss
Middle
with it,
Tennessee
Jason.
the lead.
Get that floss in.
Mine's not so good. Back to Brent Stover, Kevin Carter on the other side. You're watching college football on CBS Sports Network. Getting set for the start of the third quarter here in Murfreesboro as we welcome you back inside the Booth and Floyd Stadium. Jason Horowitz, happy to be back with Danny Cannell. Happy to have you back with us here in Tennessee. Well, we knew coming into this game that Middle Tennessee was looking to find some playmakers here in this last month of the season. And they might find those guys with Shaton Mobley and Zach Dobson.
Shaton Mobley at 99 yards. He's only had 129 the entire season, and he's about to eclipse that total tonight if he has a strong second half. I've really been impressed with his big physical running style, able to run over Western Kentucky defenders, but also showcasing the ability to make some big plays once he gets to the outside. You see, you can't come up and just arm tackle him. You better gang tackle him. And once he gets to the outside, he's got some pretty good speed with that extra 20 pounds. Also catches the ball nicely out of the backfield, too.
Mobley had those 99 yards as we take a look at the Humana first half stats. 150 rushing yards for Middle Tennessee, coming off a game where they had 208 against Old Dominion last week. Again, this is a team that is 112th in the country in rushing yards per game. Held the ball for 5.5 more minutes than Western Kentucky. And the total yards, that's certainly going to be a problem. Now, the other part for this, Danny, for Western Kentucky, it was right before the game that they made the announcement that Drew Eccles would get to start, their fifth-year senior. Might we see a change there? Well, we'll find out, because the Hilltoppers are about to get the ball here. Drell Green coming out from the 3, across the 20, and out to the 28-yard line, but a flag flown in from the end zone. And so we'll see if Western Kentucky is backed up here to start their opening drive in the second half.
Locking the back on the return. Number 5 of the return team. Half the distance, first down.
The Rogers-Anderson called for that penalty. So Drew Eccles, 8 of 23 in the opening half, 114 yards. He had a couple of nice plays. And remember, Jaquez Sloan, who had a 53-yarder in the opening half, career-high 89 yards, not in for the rest of the game. He has been ruled out by Western Kentucky.
And that was really the guy that they were hoping to get a lot of production out of, and you saw glimpses of what he could do. That's a big loss for them on the outside at the receiver position. So Drew Eccles back on the field, number 4, the quarterback. Going to stick with him, and I think this is more of an indictment of Mike Sanford saying, look, we've been having a quarterback carousel all year. Let's stick with a guy. And the bottom line is they just need to get him a little bit more protection, and somebody's got to step up and make a play for him.
Just 48 yards on the ground as well. Maybe they try and get that going. Samuel on the opening play out to the 13.
They have not been able to run up the middle at all. Everything that's been positive on the outside, just have not been able to get much push or create much space for the running backs.
Well, and that was the other thing that Mike Sanford told us yesterday when we met with him and coordinators as well. The fact that what has grown the most despite the record, their offensive line, which was completely different from last year, and their 3 freshman running backs who are all coming along. Eccles forced out of the pocket. Too far.
You know, a couple series ago before the half, I saw Mike Sanford grab Drew Eccles after a series, and he looked like him just stayed patient a little bit. I think Eccles, and now granted, he's been getting pressure, but that time he didn't have to leave the pocket. The protection was pretty good. You start wondering if some of the hits he's been taking, some of the pressure has affected his state of mind as a quarterback being comfortable in the pocket, because that one he was flushed and didn't have to.
Well, and remember, he has not seen any game action since week 2 against Maine. He started the first 2 games this year, but he didn't have a whole lot of attempts before this year. Just 24 career attempts before this season. On third down, that's a strike. Myquan Dean has the first down out to the 28-yard line. He picked up 15.
Finally, if you're seeing Mike Sanford, he's excited, getting a different personnel group, and Eccles that time able to find the crossing route. The big tight end, Dean, coming across the middle, 6'4", all 240 pounds of him. You're going to wait for somebody's got to make a big play, and that was the start. That's one, and you just want to try to claw your way back in this game, one play at a time.
Appleberry wrapped up. DQ Thomas burst through the hole. Maybe a yard before the tackle.
And the defensive front for Middle Tennessee just holding their ground. And you see linebackers, DQ Thomas, their number 20, just shot the gap. Really nice read of the offensive lineman. Recognized the run, came up, just burst through that hole. Pretty good job by the front 7 for Middle Tennessee.
They got 7 in the box again. Back to Appleberry. Maybe a couple of yards. Darius Harris. And again, the offensive line, we talked about they liked the growth, but they had to replace a whole bunch of starts. When you look at what they had last year, and 4-year starters in Brandon Ray, 3-year starter in Dennis Edwards, Jimmy Sims, was a guy who they started. Not a single player on this year's offensive line was a starter in the same spot last year, and Tyler Witt's the only returning starter.
Yep, they've been trying to develop some continuity, get some experience, and that's part of the growing pains of being a young team.
This is 3rd and 7. 2 for 9 in the opening half for Western. Fortenberry slipped down. He's got the first down. Blankenship upended him at the 42. But
and
they picked up 10.
If you're not getting production from the wide receivers, the tight ends have picked up the slack. Fortenberry just slips out of the backfield. Sort of an H-back type. And that's 2 back-to-back conversions after a rough first half on 3rd down. Western Kentucky's trying to start a little mojo.
Eccles, RPO, Jernigan over his shoulder makes the grab.
Oh, and Darrell Randolph on the outside. To see him at the defensive back. He's out here. Keep an eye on him, because once the quarterback gets outside and he thinks it's going to be a run, he gets caught up a little bit. I thought he saw the quarterback, but that was just a good release by the wide receiver on a jam, getting behind the secondary.
25 yards for Jernigan on his 2nd catch of the night. So a drive that started back on their 7. Very positive here to start the 2nd half. Samuel lost the ball. It's loose, and it's a takeaway for Middle Tennessee. Darius Liggins on top of it, and all that momentum to the other sideline.
I mean, that is just a devastating turnover, as that ball clearly is out while he's getting tackled. And Jason, you just saw, we were sitting here thinking, man, Western Kentucky looks good. They're driving. And right as they're about to go into the red zone and potentially get a score or a field goal, you cough it up, and Middle Tennessee comes up with it.
DQ Thomas the hit. Javante Moffitt is there as well. And Middle Tennessee back on offense.
College football on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by B&W Trailer Hitches, makers of the #1 selling gooseneck hitch in America. By CDW, making IT solutions work for you. It's IT orchestration by CDW. CDW, people who get it. And by Bud Light, reminding you not to drink and ride your horse.
Now, what do all those people have in common? Well, it is fathers and sons on the same rosters, which is what you have at Middle Tennessee as well. Rick Stockstill in his 13th year as the head coach of the Blue Raiders. Brent is a 5th-year senior, one of 7 father-sons on the same teams in the FBS. Rick said coaching him has been absolutely awesome. Again, it is Dobson on the sweep. He has been a big impact here tonight, really the first time this season. And again, the Stockstill's, talking to Rick this week about what he has enjoyed the most. He said it's really been fun to watch him grow as a leader, as a vocal person in this team. But the fact that he has grown as a quarterback, it's not that it's just a coach's son. He's come to Middle Tennessee and maybe has been one of the best players in program history.
Oh, for sure. When you look at the numbers that he's amassed throughout his career, there's no doubt about it. And what a cool experience to be able to coach your son this much and watch him have success. Stockstill's a proud dad, deservedly so.
And he flips it out quickly to Patrick Smith, out to the 47-yard line. So they pick up 20. Roger Cray shoved him out of bounds. And it's coming to an end as well, because this is the last month of the Stockstill father-son coaching quarterback aspect of Middle Tennessee's history.
Well, I think what you're going to see, too, is I think Brent Stockstill is going to take after his dad's profession, because he's got that coach's mindset. Having seen so much football, wouldn't be surprised at all if that's what he does next.
And again, it's a completion out to Smith. And you mentioned the coaching aspect. Mike Sanford told us yesterday that they had their meetings, and he said to Rick Stockstill that, hey, we'd love to have Brent be on our staff when his career is done. And Rick said to him, not this graduate assistant thing, only if it's a full-paid, full-time position.
Trying to play agent for his son. I love it. But I think that's the respect that everybody around this league has for Brent Stockstill as a player.
Mobley on the carry, picks up the first down. Shaitan Mobley down to the 39-yard line. He has passed 100 yards for the first time in his career. And you mentioned at the half, 128 in the season coming into the night.
And this has got to be really pleasing for Coach Stockstill to watch this unfold as they're getting down the home stretch of their season to finally start developing the run game to go along with a really solid pass game. So you got to be balanced, especially when the weather starts turning, gets a little bit colder. You got to be balanced.
9.5 to play in the third. Middle Tennessee looking to go up by 24. West stretches the play outside. Evan Sainer from his defensive tackle position chasing it down.
You know, when you're able to run the football, it opens so many different options up.
Talked about Mike Sanford Jr. plenty. Speaking of father-sons, Mike Sanford Sr. on staff both years for his son. Former head coach at UNLV, where Mike Sanford Jr. started his career as a graduate assistant before moving to Stanford and Notre Dame, among others, Boise State as well, which is where he played his ball. Stockstill pump fake. Now the go, and it's behind the receiver. Devin Jackson.
Anyway. It wouldn't have counted anyway, as Jackson was out of bounds for most of his route, got jammed out of bounds and did not get back in. You see he's clearly out of bounds. If he would have caught that, that's why the official's hat was thrown down on the ground.
Joe Pester, our field judge tonight, throwing it back. Another long drive for Middle Tennessee. This one, the 7th play of the drive, 3rd and 8. Stockstill off his back foot, launches it towards the sideline, and there are the flags. Gatlin Casey, the grad transfer from Lehigh, the intended receiver. Might not have made the grab anyway, but there were 2 defenders all over him.
There was a lot of contact, too, at the top of that route. Again, that's one where Brent Stockstill, he was looking to the right side of the field the entire time and then just knew his last option, where it was going to be.
Pass interference on the defense, number 24. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
That's on Roger Cray.
Roger Cray. You can see, I mean, is that the easiest call you've ever seen? I mean, he's got half his jersey almost pulled him to the ground. Sometimes you got to be subtle. It's like an art form for a defensive back. You can get away with a lot if you're subtle, but you can't do that.
Mobley back in the game. Blocker in front of him lowers the shoulder into Ben Holt.
Now, Ben Holt is 5'10", 225 pounds. He's a pretty big middle linebacker. Did you see what Mobley did right there? I mean, he just kind of hold on tight. And there he is. Oh, my goodness. I better just hold on and bring him down with me. I'm so glad I never played linebacker.
Stockstill turns around. Ty Lee can't break the tackle, but takes it inside the 10. Devin Key held on to the ankles, and it sets up 1st and goal for Middle Tennessee.
I love the short passing game. It's really a supplement to the run game. That was almost like a counteraction. Stockstill looked like he was going to roll out to the right, kind of get some flow of the defense going that way, and then spins back around as a 360, throws it the other way.
To the end zone. Hits the back of Casey. Again being held by Gray. This time no flags.
When that ball came out quick from Stockstill, trying to get that back shoulder. He's had a lot of success just throwing it to a spot and trusting his receiver to make a play. This is a great shot. Cam coming out. Look how early he threw that ball. Maybe a tad early for Gatlin Casey to get turned around. Looked like caught him by surprise just a little bit.
Casey, a big-time receiver at Lehigh. 33 career touchdowns on the FCS level. Has 2 of them here at Middle Tennessee this season. On 2nd and goal. Design run. Stockstill to the 6. Masai White brought him down, so 3rd and goal coming up for Stockstill. We thought he had more.
Uh-oh, he's
and comes up a little bit limping.
Yeah, which is one thing that Mike Sanford actually referenced. He said, I'm surprised they're running Brent Stockstill so much this season because he means so much to them, and he's had, you know, his share of injuries this year too.
He's still grimacing to the sideline.
He's hurting a little bit, but he is one tough sucker, I'll tell you that. He has played through a lot of pain, had to leave some games as well, and you can tell he's really upset.
We apologize for the language that you're hearing from Brent Stockstill, but the fifth-year senior who last year separated his collarbone, had a cracked sternum in a game at Syracuse.
Timeout. Middle Tennessee.
And you wonder if it's the same,
first.
as they take the timeout, you wonder if it's the same injury that he suffered at Florida International, where Coach Stockstill said earlier this week they thought originally it was a broken tibia. They got him back to Murfreesboro. It was some torn ligaments from a high ankle sprain. He didn't miss any action, just the parts of the second half against FIU. But he played the next week against Charlotte, played last week against Old Dominion, and you wonder if it's the same issue.
Well, from his reaction, you could tell that he knew something was a little bit off, and I wonder if it's just a pain issue for him, and he's trying to toughen it out, which looks like he's going to do.
That's where we go back to 3 weeks ago. This is the injury against FIU where he just gets rolled up on the left leg.
Ouch.
So stays in the ball game. That game, their only loss in conference, 24-21, where he missed most of the second half. But back out of the timeout for third and goal from the 6. Stockstill to the corner of the end zone. And it's too far in front of Patrick Smith. It'll set up 4th and goal.
They had the coverage they wanted, trying to learn a little corner route from the inside slot. You can tell Stockstill's limping a little bit. Would have been a gorgeous throw. Just trying to throw it to that back pylon and let the receiver run underneath it. Remember I talked about the crafty lefty making, different, just a little bit more touch, but the receiver's running out of room. This is a tight window there. And this is actually a good stop for Western Kentucky to force the field goal here and still kind of hang around. They're just trying to fight their way back into this game.
23-yard attempt for Holt. Hit a pair tonight, and he's perfect. Off the uprated. Well,
hey, it went
still
in.
Perfect.
Let's throw 3 points either way.
3 for 3 is 3 for 3, whether it's up the uprights and in or right down the middle. It's a 20-point advantage for the Blue Raiders.
Point.
Tomorrow, the best conference brings you the biggest games of the year. First, 6th-ranked Georgia at number 9, Kentucky, with the winner to the SEC Championship. Then in primetime, number 1 Alabama taking on 3rd-ranked LSU. If the Tide wins, we'll also be headed to Atlanta for the SEC Championship game. College pregame kicks off the day at 2:30 Eastern on CBS. Alabama, 7 straight over LSU, includes the national championship game back in the FBS. Tigers haven't given up a first-quarter touchdown 12 straight games. Alabama, opening drive touchdown every game this year. Something's got to give tomorrow night in Baton Rouge.
Have you watched Tua play quarterback? 25 touchdowns, 0 interceptions on the year. He's playing it almost to perfection. I would give the Tide the edge on that first drive.
25 touchdowns, no picks. LaFrance coming out from the 1. Takes it across the 30, and there's a flag. So Gerald LaFrance, Garland LaFrance out to the 34.
There's a lot of youth on this team, and I think what you're seeing are youthful mistakes. A lot of penalties. See a Middle Tennessee player down.
That's Xavier Dupree. So right where the flag was thrown as well. And check that. That is actually Cordell Hudson. 2 number 22s for Middle Tennessee.
During the return,
that is Cordell Hudson.
Holding on the return team, number 51. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Unsportsmanlike conduct on the return team, number 51. Half the distance. That's number 51's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul. First down.
Those will both be assessed since the unsportsmanlike is after the play.
Really almost got taken out.
That is Brent Stockstill out there near Cordell Hudson. So while they attend to the grad transfer from Syracuse, we will step aside. Back here in Murfreesboro, the training staff continuing to work on Cordell Hudson. The grad transfer from Syracuse, a senior here at Middle Tennessee, injured on kick coverage. Take a look at what happened here.
There he is right here coming into your picture. And he just kind of gets tangled up, comes up top, and then it comes down awkwardly. And just from the moment he went down, didn't move much, and it looked like he jammed his knee into the ground, maybe the hip area, and they've been just attending to him very cautiously, and that's a good thing. They're going to take every precaution, this training staff, to make sure they don't move him too quickly, make sure everything was stable before they decide to do anything.
Mike Sanford's going to get his team all together. Rick Stockstill still on the field, as well as they bring the card out. Now they have turned Cordell Hudson over. He was on his stomach until just a couple of moments ago. They have turned him over onto his back. So it has gone silent here inside the stadium, with Middle Tennessee leading Western Kentucky 23-3. Both teams on their respective sidelines on knees. Cordell Hudson began his career at Syracuse with Scott Schaefer, who at the time was the head coach of the Orange, now the defensive coordinator here at Middle Tennessee. Danny, when you were a player, Florida State or in the NFL, what would go through your mind on the sidelines when you were watching one of your teammates go through this? I
mean, this is one of the harsh realities of the game, is that it is a violent sport, and injuries are a part of it, and sometimes they're very serious. And, you know, I think that's where, you know, this is a fierce rivalry, right? But that doesn't matter now. That's why you're seeing both sidelines kneeling in prayer and concern for everybody, because this is when the sport of football is sort of like a brotherhood all together, and you know that, hey, some serious things can happen, and this is where you just kind of hope that all this stuff right now that they're doing is precautionary.
So they are bringing the stretcher out to Cordell Hudson, and we'll step aside again. Back here at Middle Tennessee, the training staff continuing to attend to Cordell Hudson, who was injured on kick coverage just about 5 minutes ago. They have cut off his jersey. They have also taken off his shoulder pads. The stretcher has been wheeled out towards the 35-yard line. The cart is also out there. Hudson has been turned over from his stomach onto his back. And now they are strapping him there to the gurney. Excuse me, to the board to put him on the gurney. Jason Horwitz, Danny Cannell back with you here in Murfreesboro. So, again, there's still 6:46 to go, third quarter, 23-3. Middle Tennessee has the lead in this rivalry game with Western Kentucky. But moments like that, you kind of forget that for a while. But
yeah,
in a few moments, they will have to try and remember that.
It's one of the hardest things to do, because in the back of your mind, you're still worried about your teammate, and even the other team is worried about your opponent. And you'll be going over there asking the training staff, hey, do you have any updates? And it's hard to go from, 100 miles an hour to 0. You're totally concerned, and then you have to ramp it back up again. It's really, but a lot of these guys are used to compartmentalizing things. And as you take one more look at Hudson, kind of just falls awkwardly on his side and just came up in a heap there.
His right leg gets caught underneath as then he falls to the turf. Certainly one of those scenes in football that you see too often and you hope you never see.
Yep. And every player out there, when you take the field, you know that could be you. Like, it's just that type of sport. You know that it's a dangerous game and you could suffer a serious injury. So when you see somebody else go through it, you know the seriousness of it, and that's why both teams are out there praying for them, hoping for the best.
Brent Stockstill has been out by Cordell Hudson the entire time. Quarterback Rick Stockstill, the head coach, as well. That's a good sign. Cordell Hudson, both arms in the air. His eyes are open. So they will walk Cordell Hudson to the tunnel on the near right sideline here as we're seeing it. And again, as you were talking about, the team's got to get back in this ball game.
It's been, 10, 15 minutes, and it's a cold night out, so they're literally trying to get warmed back up. And, this is the thing where physically it's not that hard to get warmed back up again. Mentally is where it's hard to get back in the game. But again, I kind of alluded to it before, football players are used to seeing injuries at practice, and you compartmentalize, and you just kind of separate and say, all right, I have to go back to work, get back on the field.
So play will resume here in just a moment. 6:46 to go in the third. Middle Tennessee took the opening drive, 75 yards, as they will take Cordell Hudson into the ambulance. And if we get word here tonight from the department, the communications department up here in the booth with us, we will pass that along to you. So first down and 10 for Western Kentucky after the stoppage. Drew Eccles right to the air, overshoots Quinn Jernigan. Chris Stamps now into the ballgame for Cordell Hudson, who was the starting cornerback. And in terms of personnel, they were already missing O.J. Johnson with a hamstring injury tonight as well. To the ground for the Hilltoppers. That Samuel keeps the legs churning out towards the 15, picks up 5.
And if you're Western Kentucky, you're one big play away from getting your way back in this game. If you could get it to 23-10, get Middle Tennessee State a little bit nervous, start them thinking a little bit, it could be totally change the complexion of this game. The problem is Western Kentucky hasn't been able to get that big play all night.
Hilltoppers lost their best skill position player in Jacquez Sloan. He left this ballgame in the second quarter. He has been ruled out. So 3rd and 5 coming up. They need the 20. Pressure up the middle. Eccles hangs, throws, drilled. Pearson, the intended receiver. Blankenship came in to break it up, and it's 4th down.
Remember, Jason, the beginning of the game, I said I like tall, lanky safeties like Reed Blankenship. He's playing center field. He sees this ball a long way and comes all the way across, and that's a good, clean hit. No targeting. That's 5 years ago, you would have seen a a safety, lead with his head, try to go for the big hit. Didn't. Got the solid hit, clean hit, broke it up.
So after the injury stoppage, to look at Cordell Hudson. 3 and out for Western Kentucky's offense. High boot for Ranella, and Ty Lee calls for a fair catch at the 49-yard line. Let's go back to our New York City studios. Best Western update, and Brent Stover.
Jason, Danny, big one in the ACC Coastal. Darren Hall with his 75-yard touchdown run. He's got a season-high 194 and 3 scores on the ground. Fourth quarter now, Pitt leads Virginia by 10, guys.
All right, Brent, thank you very much. So certainly a couple of surprises there. Virginia, who has lost the last 3 to Pat Narduzzi's squad, trying to get that home win. Here, it's Middle Tennessee, who has lost 3 in a row to Western Kentucky, trying to win this rivalry game. Terrell West keeps it on the ground. He picks up 5 on first down.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, Middle Tennessee. They've had a lot of success running the football. They've got complete control of this game. If they start working a little bit more on the ground, and it's a tough spot to call games from if you're Rick Stockstill, because you still want to be aggressive, and yet you don't want to do anything foolish, take on any unnecessary risk. That's the advantage of having a 5th-year veteran quarterback in Brent Stockstill. You can trust him with the whole playbook.
He tripped coming out from under center.
But another thing too, Jason, is remember he got banged up a little bit, so you might be just a little bit conservative when you start looking at the big picture.
They've run the ball well tonight. 179 yards on the ground for Middle Tennessee. Came into the night 127 per game, 112th in the country, but they had over 200 last week against Old Dominion. Shaitan Mobley has been great tonight for the Blue Raiders. Their redshirt freshman over 100 yards, 112. They flip it out to Tavares Thomas, and Holt read it from the beginning.
Boy, I tell you, that little toss there almost got away from Stockstill. That was a fast-moving toss sweep. Tavares Thomas able to scoop it in, and that's tough to bring in while you're having a linebacker like Ben Holt breathing down your neck.
So Western Kentucky gets the stop, and you're saying this the whole time.
Right, they're close. I mean, it feels like they're really getting like 23-3. You're like, oh, that's a bad score. But they're one big play from making it 23-10 and having Middle Tennessee a little bit more concerned.
But they're having to go the length of the field, and they're going to have to do it again. Down at the 6 after a 43-yard punt. Now CBS Super Bowl season continues with regional action, including a bitter rivalry between Pittsburgh and Baltimore. They also got 2 young quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, now with a new head coach. Check your local listings and kick off your day with the NFL Today, presented by Jeep at noon Eastern. Now, Joe Flacco got the better of Ben Roethlisberger the first time around. 26-14, the Baltimore win in Pittsburgh. Who do you like in the rematch?
I like the Steelers. I think they're a better team without Le'Veon Bell. They've had that distraction all year long. James Conner's picked up the slack. Give the edge to Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers on the road.
Coming off the bye as well, and Bell's still not showing up for Pittsburgh. So backed up at the 6. Maybe 3 on first down. Josh Samuel got the carry, and you talked about it. They've had a couple of drives. Western Kentucky's opening drive, they took it to the 30, out of field goal range. They went for it on 4th down, came up short. They had a drive here in the second half in Middle Tennessee territory, and then Geno Appleberry had the fumble. So they've had opportunities to get points and have this maybe be a 2-possession game. On 2nd and 7, Mike Grondine drops the ball.
I mean, that's a perfect example right there of kind of the mistakes that have plagued this Western Kentucky team all night long. I mean, that's a play you've got to make from Dean on the outside. You pull this in, first down, you start moving, you get a little momentum. Instead, you got a 3rd and 7, and you're backed up. You know, there's a little space, so Middle Tennessee can get aggressive, try to get after Eccles, which they've been doing all night long. Somebody's just got to step up and make a play for Western Kentucky. Pushing 3, dropping 8 in the coverage.
They only bring the 3. Eccles keeps it alive. Finds Pearson down the field. They make a big play out to the 38. Bush makes the tackle, but a 29-yard hookup.
So look, 8 guys dropping, which means Eccles has a lot of time to throw. So while he's surveying the field, buys some time. And then Pearson, this is just a scramble drill, gets to the outside, finds some grass, kind of settles down there, throttles it down, and a heads-up play from Eccles, finding him. And there's a big play. Now, can they keep it going? Can they put 2 big plays together?
Blitz comes off the edge. Eccles downfield for his tight end, and it's over Fortenberry.
Boy, it was a beautiful evade by Drew Eccles. I mean, he had a defender right in his lap. Watch this little move right here. You're talking about pocket movement. Watch the step up right there. Lets his back get in a good position, and then while he's on the outside, keeps his eyes down the field, and a fingertip away from being a back-to-back big play.
Kyle Fortenberry is a good receiving tight end. Came into this ballgame their second leading receiver with 30 catches. That's just 1 tonight for 10. That's LaFrance, who gets the sweep, gets the block, and can't go anywhere. Reed Blankenship coming up from the safety spot. He made the stop on the pass on the last possession, and here making the tackle at the line of scrimmage.
Right off the get-go, talked about Reed Blankenship after a 100-yard touchdown return last week against Old Dominion. This week, you see him covering a lot of ground. That's coming from deep in the secondary, too. Comes up, gets in pretty good position, wraps up the bottom. You know, doesn't get the big hit, but still gets the tackle.
2 tight ends lined up top of your screen, Dean and Fortenberry. Render provides the pressure. Eccles pump fake, and he's going to take it out of bounds, and he's holding his shoulder.
Yeah, did he hurt it on a pump fake?
Remember, Eccles came into this game. He had a dislocated shoulder in week 1. He dislocated the other shoulder in week 2, and he pulled up on that pump fake.
I think he took a big pump fake down the field, and that's a concern, especially when, you know, Mike Sanford said he's been back at practice, but just hasn't been, you know, able to this week to make big throws. And then watch him coming outside.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on the defense, number 91. That's a 15-yard penalty. 91's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul. First down.
Now, it maybe something he said, because he definitely stood over Drew Eccles, which the flag was thrown right there.
Once you have shoulder issues, sometimes, you know, you're more susceptible to popping it out of place, and that's what looks like it happened with Drew Eccles. Looks like the shoulders kind of popped out of place, and you could tell he knew right away. He said, let me get out of bounds. And then you saw 91, Ferguson, come over and have a word.
And that's Stephen Duncan warming up, not David Shanley. And we came into this game knowing that they have had quarterback issues all season, with Drew Eccles being the starter to begin the year, the 5th-year senior, finally getting his time after Brandon Dowdy for 4 years. Had a great career at Western Kentucky, backed him up for a couple of years. The last 2 years, it's been Mike White, who was a 5th-round draft pick in the NFL. He finally got his time, got hurt in week 2, and they went to Stephen Duncan, the redshirt sophomore. But when they did that, they knew going in they'd also play Davis Shanley, who played better than Duncan, but here they're going to the sophomore. And because of the penalty as well with Jordan Ferguson, Western Kentucky has new life in Middle Tennessee territory. He's taking a shot at his first pass, and it's caught! Touchdown, Western Kentucky! Lucky Jackson! 45 yards on the opening pass for Duncan off the bench.
Lucky Jackson is just going to little stutter step, get past the defense. And I love the play call from Mike Sanford. Oh, we got a quarterback change. You guys think we're going to be conservative? Nope, goes for the home run.
Extra point, Ryan Nuss up and good.
There's that big play. All of a sudden, 23-10 turns the complexion of this game. Totally different feel right now. You saw the look on Coach Stockstill's face. He's saying, oh boy, here we go. This is a rivalry game.
Well, and you just mentioned the oh boy, here we go. Last year in Bowling Green, Kentucky, Middle Tennessee had a touchdown lead in the fourth quarter before Mike White hit Lucky Jackson for a 93-yard touchdown pass to tie it up. They took the lead before Middle Tennessee tied it. 3 overtimes later, Western Kentucky won. But something just like that, now different circumstances. New quarterback, first play, 45-yard touchdown pass, but same guy on the receiving end.
Yep, absolutely. Love it. And it's a totally, you just grasp the momentum from this game. Now it's up to Middle Tennessee to counter. That's a big counter punch for Western Kentucky.
And what allowed that to happen?
So let's take a look at
foul
it.
from Ferguson,
yeah, exactly.
On taunting.
Yep, that extra 15 yards. That was a foolish penalty too. And it didn't look egregious, didn't shove him, but there's a player hurt and you go over there, stand over him and say something enough for the officials to hear. Just not very bright.
So now some renewed energy as well.
Yeah.
And remember, this game here in the middle of the third quarter came to a stop for about 15 minutes with Cordell Hudson lying on the field for Middle Tennessee. Fair catch called for from Ty Lee, so they'll bring it out to the 25-yard line. Again, the new rule in college football. Let's go back to that play, draw it up.
So let's have a look. This is pretty simple concept. You can see it underneath route here, on the outside, a little comeback, and then here's Lucky coming right across. He's just going to split the middle of the field. And watch the safeties' reaction. The safeties are playing way too up. They get caught in the backfield, eyes in the backfield. Both of them suck up, and that opens up the top. It's called popping the top off the defense. That's what Lucky Jackson did. And credit to Duncan. Cold off the bit. It's a cold night, and he's over there trying to get warmed up still. He looked pretty good on that throw, though.
Stockstill pressure up the middle. Gets away for one, not the second one.
See, it's contagious, too. You had the big play on offense. Your defense all of a sudden feels pretty enthused, and then you get a sack right on first down. Pressure comes right up the middle. The linemen are trying to release for a little slip screen, and Stockstill's got to know he's got to get rid of it.
And remember, 2 drives ago, Stockstill, who's still hurting a couple of weeks ago with the ankle injury, came up lame and then needed to take a timeout. He's going to the air, taking a shot downfield. It's caught with Salter inbounds. Yes, at the 46. Lucky Jackson's not happy.
I mean, that is a perfectly placed ball. Right in a tight window, well defended.
Both feet down.
Yeah. What a catch from Salter. And that's what your 5th-year veteran quarterback, Brent Stockstill, just took a sack and then delivered a dime down the field.
And hands off back to Mobley. Couple more tackles, runs over Holt again.
Boy, how many times have we seen that combination right there? Holt trying to bring down Mobley and just holds on for dear life as Mobley's running over him.
17 more for Shaton Mobley.
Shaton Mobley's been the workhorse for this offense. Watch the end of this run. Here comes right there, 44 in the middle of your picture, just grabs and holds on. And now can Western Kentucky get a stop? That's the question.
Mobley cuts it upfield again. It's Holt. Dragging Holt inside the 20.
I mean, we've seen this matchup. Ben Holt has seen all of Shaton. He doesn't want to see any more of them. He's like, man, can somebody else make a tackle?
In all fairness, I'm not sure his teammates do either.
No, I don't think nobody does. I wouldn't. But this is where they need to get a stop. Western Kentucky, they want to fight back into this game.
Smith on the quick pass.
A nice open field tackle.
And Deontay Ruffin makes the stop with Middle Tennessee. Off the touchdown allowed to Western Kentucky, trying to answer right back. 23-10 at the end of 3. And you're watching college football on CBS Sports Network, presented by Geico. Set for the start of the 4th quarter as we take a look at our Chick-fil-A fan cam here inside Floyd Stadium. Everybody is more like Danny Cannell, buttoned up. That kid's excited about it.
Yeah.
I think that's the leftover energy from the Kit Kats. I don't think you shared your Skittles with him that you had. What is that, 4 packages that you've had tonight?
Oh, yeah. Crushing over leftover Halloween candy.
Jason Orr with Danny Cannell back with you here at Middle Tennessee. Blue Raiders up 23-10. 68th all-time meeting between these two rivals, separated by just 100 miles. Western Kentucky late third quarter touchdown on a 46-yard touchdown pass from Stephen Duncan, who entered the game for an injured Drew Eccles. Middle Tennessee trying to answer early in the fourth, maybe trying to put away Western Kentucky. Shaitan Mobley, the running back, 148 yards tonight, more than he's had all season. On 2nd and 10 for Stockstill. And he's going to take that out of bounds. Jawan Jones chasing him down the whole way. It'll bring up 3rd down.
You know, Jason, you talked about earlier Stockstill getting hurt for a little bit. Looked like he was a little bit gimpy getting up, fighting his way back in the game. Remember, in this rivalry series, he's never beaten Western Kentucky. So he's out there saying, there's no way you're taking me out of this game.
This is an important stop for the Hilltoppers that they can get it. Hold them to a field goal, still a 2-possession game here in the 4th quarter. Stockstill, designed run up the middle, was losing his footing the whole way. Only gets to the 11. Devin Key brought him down. It'll bring up 4th down, and they'll send the field goal unit on.
I mean, Stockstill's helmet's kind of sideways. He's been getting pounded all night long. He's got his leg that was hurt before. He's fighting his way through it. He's going to be sore tomorrow, but he wants to win that rivalry game, and this is a big field goal right here.
So Cruz Holt, 3 for 3 tonight. This from 28. The last one from the other ash. He slid it off the upright and in to go up 16. 4 for 4 tonight for Holt, who had 4 field goals all season. And a late flag thrown as both teams were heading back to their sidelines. Well, we've seen penalties on both sides tonight to extend drives after drives were expected to be over.
Extracurriculars after.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 98 of the kicking team. That penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
That's backup defensive
15
end
yards.
Chris Myers, so he'll kick it off from the 20. But Middle Tennessee up by 16. And it got by in the 4th quarter. Jason Horowitz, Danny Cannell back with you here at Middle Tennessee, where the Blue Raiders leading Western Kentucky 26-10. Well, earlier in the 3rd quarter, game came to a halt for about 15-20 minutes as the training staff for Middle Tennessee attended to Cordell Hudson. They brought the stretcher out, took him to the ambulance. Middle Tennessee staff is taking him to Vanderbilt Hospital, just about 30 minutes away in Nashville. No word yet on exactly what it is the injury was. He did move both of his arms as he was being taken off the field to the ambulance. And again, if we get any word before the game is over tonight, we'll certainly pass that along. As for this ball game for Western Kentucky, the offense getting set. Drew Eccles on the left was the starter tonight, the 5th-year senior, but he had dislocated shoulders earlier this season. Tonight was his first start since week 2. Came up lame a couple drives ago. After hurting his shoulder, Stephen Duncan came in and threw a touchdown. And after the penalty, Middle Tennessee kicking off from the 20, so Western set to have some field position. Green out to the 34. Dan, let's go back to your keys to this ball game from earlier tonight. You said find their quarterback. Now they're on to quarterback number 2.
Right, and not ideally the situation you found, but Duncan with the big touchdown pass at least found it. And then defensively, the 4 good quarters struggled a little bit in the first half, but they're starting to force field goals in the second. Middle Tennessee, we've seen that, man, if they spread it around. 9 different players. You've seen Brent Stockstill just really, working the field. And then done an outstanding job defensively against Western Kentucky, just forcing them to drive the length of the field. They can't put it together longer than 10 plays. That's why they're holding them at only 10 points.
Yeah, no, just a 2-possession game. Despite that, just a 2-possession game. Duncan keeps it himself, designed quarterback run, and Duncan gets it to the 44. Moffitt there to make the tackle. But a 22-yard run for Duncan.
Watch, once he gets past the line of scrimmage right there, all of a sudden there's nobody in the middle of the field. I think he's as surprised as anybody, saying, I didn't think I was going to get this long a run.
Duncan keeps it himself to the outside. He's got another first down.
Does it appear to you, Jason, that he almost looks surprised there's that much room to run? It does when he's running it.
He's 6'4", 230-pound redshirt sophomore from Charleston, South Carolina. He does have 2 rushing touchdowns on the season. And that wasn't really much of the game tonight for Drew Eccles.
They like to use him in short yardage, goal line type situations, kind of a big power quarterback. And now we're seeing him gallop down the field when he's in the open field. Why not? Making good decisions on that zone option.
They picked up 40 yards here in just about 2 plays in less than a minute. This time it is the handoff. To the 28-yard line, DeAndre Furby gets the carry. Danny, those 2 runs for Stephen Duncan made him their leading rusher tonight.
I mean, the offense has been sputtering most of the game outside the first drive and been looking for somebody to step up, and that guy has been Stephen Duncan.
Back towards the end zone, Dean the receiver, and he dropped it. Duncan, a beautiful pass for his tight end, and he couldn't haul it in.
I mean, you have to make these plays for your quarterback. This is just a straight fade route from the inside tight end position. That goes right through the wickets, and Dean knows it as soon as it goes through. And, oh, that's got to hurt. And that's a tough one for Duncan. He thought he had a touchdown. That's one you got to go up to Dean and say, hey, don't worry about it. I'm coming right back to you. Doesn't matter. Got to make a play.
Second drop here in the second half for Dean. It's 3rd and 6. Blitz comes. Duncan avoids the pressure off the hands of the receiver. That's the other tight end, Fortenberry.
Back-to-back drops. And what a great play from Stephen Duncan, just finding a way, pocket presence, because he's under duress. Just a little bit of a step up. Right there, keeps his eyes downfield, delivers the perfect ball after getting hit. You got to make a play for your quarterback.
Is this a decision?
No, you're going for it all day long. Kicking game is struggling. Mike Sanford said he was going to be aggressive. They're in a weird spot in the field. You're down 16 points, no-brainer.
It's 4th and 6. 0 for 1 tonight on 4th. Blitz comes. Duncan throws that direction. This time Dean makes the grab and has the first down.
Now that was it. I'll give Dean a credit. I love it going right back to your guy who had a drop. I love that from Duncan and from Mike Sanford, head coach. And what's even better is Dean had the presence of mind. He knows he needs the first down. Says, oh, get off me. I got to get those chains moving. Gets the extra yardage needed.
Stephen Duncan, a massive surprise here tonight for Western Kentucky, on in relief for Eccles. Blitz comes, and he is drilled. DQ Thomas hit him from behind. Now the question is, did they rule out a backwards pass and out of bounds at the spot? Up just an incomplete. It's a forward pass.
And now when you wonder if Duncan, playing quarterback, is in there, just didn't recognize he was supposed to be hot, because clearly he was not aware of the linebacker coming through there unblocked. Thought he had the time to set up.
Thomas forced a fumble earlier tonight. Pressure comes again. Pocket holds. Jernigan, the intended receiver, and Greg Jr., who's now on in relief for Cordell Hudson, breaks up the pass. It's 3rd down.
You know, Middle Tennessee defensively, the last couple plays have dialed up the pressure, saying, you know what, Stephen Duncan looks a little too comfortable back there in the pocket. Now they're getting more aggressive. Look at all the press coverage on the outside. Everybody's pressed up, making for tight windows.
They bring 6. He's hit again to the end zone, and it's over the outstretched arms of the 5'9" Ja'Cour Pearson. Khalil Brooks this time with the pressure, so they've hit on 4th and 6. This time on 4th and 10, they will bring the field goal unit out.
It's too long. Like if you were in 4th and 3, maybe, but then even then you'd have a chip shot. And just the odds, you got to get the points here.
And they have 2 kickers. Alex Ranella hit earlier tonight. This time it is Ryan Nuss, who is 3 for 6 on the year, as long as 35. This is from 37. And it's blocked! Off the edge! Middle Tennessee comes up with the block. Darrell Randolph off the corner blocks it for the Blue Raiders and ends the hope for Mike Sanford Jr.
I mean, that was easy. That was the easiest block I've ever seen from Darrell Randolph. Just got there and blocked it with his chest. All was there. It looked like it was pretty good timing. Just Randolph came unblocked off the edge. Wasn't even accounted for on the outside. I think that was the look on Mike Sanford's face, talking to his dad, saying, man, what happened there? Nobody accounted for that edge rusher.
And they told us yesterday, and this has been an issue for them all season, their kicking game. Right around the area they felt comfortable for, but that's a miscommunication on the protection.
Yeah.
So now 11:15 to go here in the fourth. Middle Tennessee tonight has run the ball for 221 yards.
And you notice anything here? Look at the time that is draining off the clock, and Stockstill's in no hurry whatsoever. They're letting the play clock drain down, slowing this game, trying to use as much as they can.
Back to Mobley, who's chased down by Jawan Jones.
Gives their defense a little bit of a rest. And they know they could close this game out with a nice long drive ending in points.
You said this at halftime about Shaton Mobley. He came into the ball game, 31 carries on the season. The redshirt freshman had 128 yards. Tonight, 17 carries for 152.
I think they found their back.
Well, it's been a search now for 8 games. 3rd and 6. Stockstill. Casey through his hands. So they do get off the field. After the blocked field goal, Western Kentucky gets off the field again. You know, you wonder with an up-tempo offense, Middle Tennessee's been going quick. It is their style. When you start to slow it down,
it's different. Absolutely. I haven't played in a lot of up-tempo offense. When I was in college, we had the fast break a lot, and it's a different mindset. And you get a little more conservative, and you lose that rhythm and flow. It's a challenge.
Gray, the fair catch at the 32. Bonadies after the 31-yard punt. Can Western Kentucky mount a comeback here in the 4th? Now, just 3 nights ago, the first college football playoff rankings released. Alabama, Clemson, LSU, and Notre Dame, the top 4. Those teams playing each other this week, Kentucky and Georgia. Michigan's got a tough one with Penn State. Obviously, the Alabama-LSU game tomorrow night on CBS. Notre Dame is at Northwestern. Danny, what about your top 8?
Well, you will notice, first of all, that my playoff teams would consist of 8 teams and not the 4 that we currently have. Because 8 would be so much better. It would be perfect for college football. You give teams like UCF, who have an unbelievable win streak going, you give them a chance, a group of 5 team. You could have 2 SEC teams in there if they deserved it. You could have 2 Big Ten teams if they deserved it. And most importantly, you'd have all 5 conference champs in there, which matters most.
So your playoff rules do not take into effect with the actual rules that we're playing by right now?
No, I have my own set of rules.
So no answer to the question with 10-12 to go here in the 4th. Stephen Duncan back to Worth, and he's hit up top and below. Tyshawn Render finished off by Ferguson.
Well, Render was holding him up, and Duncan was trying to escape. And Ferguson, as you said, Jason, just came in and finished him off. And really, Duncan had no chance to do much of anything with the ball, and that was a vicious tackle. I mean, you talk about a crown to the helmet. Surprised that wasn't targeting.
And Duncan's hit from behind. The ball is loose, and it's ruled incomplete. And Duncan is now down. Already in this game, Drew Eccles has left with what looked like a shoulder injury as he was just pump faking, and now this is the backup quarterback. Mike Sanford just got a penalty as well.
Well, he's livid because he's upset there wasn't a targeting on either one of these.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on the Western Kentucky bench. That'll be half the distance to the goal. Still third down.
And that one there was not the one that I don't think Sanford is upset about. That was DQ Thomas. There was not any targeting on that one. It was the previous play when you saw Ferguson. Don't forget Ferguson was number 91 who came over and had the personal conduct foul against him.
And now Stephen Duncan is back in the tent. The play that you're referencing.
And you want to know, this is why Mike Sanford is livid over there. Watch number 91, sizes him up, puts his helmet down, leads with the crowd, and pretty much launches. That pretty much fits every single definition that you're looking for in targeting. And yet, no flag was thrown. I think that's why Mike Sanford is so livid, and I think he's every right to be.
Well, and so he gets the unsportsmanlike penalty. And so now, with Duncan in the tent and Eccles injured, it's David Shanley, the third quarterback of the day. Quick pass, Pearson out to the 25. Poitras brings him down from behind, so they pick up 12. It's 4th and 17, down by 16 with 9:20 to go in the ball game. How many more possessions can you actually have? Because they're bringing on the punt team.
Well, you have to punt it here with 9 minutes left. You can't put your defense back in this spot and risk going for it on 4th and 17, obviously. And Mike Sanford is still livid, and I think it's deserved. I would be just as mad as if I was him. You want to protect your players, going to bat for his quarterback.
Big boot again from Ranella. Western Kentucky bounced down to the 15-yard line. 57 on the punt again. Eccles started tonight. Duncan is coming in relief. They're on to their third quarterback.
College football on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Go RVing. Find your way. Go RVing. By Principal. Investments, retirement, insurance. We can help you plan for that. And by Best Western Hotels and Resorts. Go get rewarded with Best Western.
It's the 37th annual Salute to Veterans and Armed Forces Night here at Middle Tennessee. Long snapper, appropriately named Daniel Sargent, out at halftime, shaking hands with members of the military who were being honored here in Murfreesboro, a town that was founded for a man who was a Revolutionary War hero. As Mobley on first down takes it out across the 30 to the 31. He picks up 15 yards. As we dip under 8:35 here in the fourth quarter. Chaton Mobley, absolutely a star here in this ball game. 167 on 18 carries for the redshirt freshman. Keep it on the ground. This time Holt won the battle.
Yes, he did. He's been having a pretty good toe-to-toe matchup. Ben Holt versus Tom Mobley, and that time gets the better of him, as you mentioned. And this is where, at this point in games like this, when you got a 16-point lead, this is where it's such an advantage to have a big back you can lean on. Kind of wear down that defense, eat up a lot of clock.
Holt has 10 tackles tonight, 4th game this year with 10 tackles. Team captain on defense.
Stockstill having a little fun out there, just chilling while the play clock runs down, waiting for the play call.
It's hard to stay focused when you're used to running a play 15 seconds at a time. It's like, what do we do now? Now that's what we do. You run it again. It's Mobley. A couple of yards. That'll bring up third down. Evan Sainer there again. Well, if Western Kentucky has any chance to have a shot in this ball game, this is the play. Yep. Right? Still all 3 timeouts, but down 2 scores, need 2-point conversions on both.
They got to get the ball back is what they need. So that's what you're referring to, is they got to get a stop on this play.
2:44 have had a heck of a battle here tonight. Not one that necessarily was expected coming in. Yes, Ben Holt, who led the team in tackles with 75, but Chaton Mobley not so much. He had 31 carries on the season. to the air. Stockstill wrapped up. Jawan Jones for the second sack of the night. Now 5 on the season, and Western Kentucky going to get the ball back.
That's exactly what they needed. Jones coming on the right side. Makes the play. The guard came out, tried to kick out and pick him up, number 74. And you see him just a step late, and that was enough for Jones to get enough of Stockstill and bring him down. So now you push him back, just a little bit extra field position with the sack. So you're going to start this drive with pretty good field position, you would think. Question is, who's playing quarterback for Western Kentucky?
Had to play 3 tonight because of a pair of injuries. Darden makes the fair catch at the 35. Well, you asked the question about the quarterbacks. Here's the story of the night for Western Kentucky. Drew Eccles got the start. First time since week 2 as he got injured with shoulder injuries earlier this year. Then when he went out, it was Stephen Duncan who came in. Then he got knocked out on the last drive, but Duncan, who went into the tents, got the helmet back on, and he's coming back onto the field. So here's what's happened tonight here for the Hilltoppers. Again, Eccles came in, great start to the game. He came in with shoulder issues. He pump faked it, and clearly he hurt himself on that.
He knew it right away. Went to the sideline.
Duncan came in on the first pass.
Love it. Cold all night, sitting on the bench. Didn't affect him at all to Lucky Jackson down the field.
And he's back in the ball game here with 5:54 to go. Pressure comes. Back to the air, taking a shot, and it's almost intercepted. Khalil Brooks in coverage. Blankenship was there as well. You know, it has felt like Stephen Duncan has done a lot more because of the runs, but he's 2 of 8 passes.
He's had a couple big plays drop for him. He had a touchdown pass by Dean was dropped. A big 3rd down conversion was dropped. So made some nice throws. Got to get some help around him.
Off the edge, pressure comes. He's hit as he throws, and it falls to the turf. They are getting free runs at the backup quarterback. This time it was Wesley Bush on the pressure.
Well, that time the back has to pick up 1. He takes the first threat in DQ Thomas, and Bush from the safety position came too. So Middle Tennessee bringing a lot of pressure, a lot of heat. And here's the thing, if you're Western Kentucky, you don't have to get it all in one play. You don't have to get there's still time left where you can get first downs, find yourself in there, and then take your shot. Off the edge again.
Throwing that direction. Looking for Jackson, and it's Blankenship again. Danny, you highlighted him at the beginning of the ball game, coming off 17 tackles last week. The 100-yard interception return for a touchdown. Couple of breakups tonight, tackles for loss.
He's the definition of a ball-hawking safety. He's just covered a lot of ground out there, playing the center field position. He's been a part of a lot of pass breakups. He comes up and run support, really solid. Really impressed by the way he's played tonight.
And this is the ball game here for Western Kentucky.
Yep.
Down 16, 5:40. It's 4th and 10. Taking a shot down the field, nowhere near the receiver. Turnover on downs, and Middle Tennessee's going to take over. Blue Raiders still in contention for Conference USA's East Division. And tonight, they're going to win the rivalry game. Shaton Mobley, certainly one of tonight's difference makers, brought to you by Geico. The redshirt freshman running back came into the night 128 yards on the season. No more than 36 against Old Dominion. He's had a massive impact. And then on defense, the man who was the Nagurski Trophy Award for the Player of the Week is the best defensive player in college football. Reed Blankenship again continuing to make a difference.
Yeah, he's been outstanding all night long. I think that's what we expected, though, on the defensive side of the ball. Shaton Mobley, the other side, total surprise.
Yeah, and Mobley certainly has been huge for them. And again, they came into this game. Their leading runner had 243 yards. Terrell West, their leading rusher, at 243 on the season. Mobley tonight, again, 169. You know, and back to the defense, too. Middle Tennessee, they're going to need FIU to lose twice because they did lose to the Golden Panthers in the head-to-head when Brent Stockstill got hurt and missed the second half.
FIU's got a tough game this weekend against FAU, playing at home down there.
But this is a defense, Danny, in Conference USA that came into the night giving up 20 points per game in conference play. And over the course of the 5 in conference, second half points allowed, 7 per game. That's what they've given up tonight to Western Kentucky.
Yep. That's where you start going to get a little bit aggressive on the defensive side of the ball, trying to force a turnover. And you want to keep them out of field goal range at this point.
Mobley again gets the carry. Brown and Holt there.
Ben Holt and Mobley have pretty much had a tackling drill all night long. Like a lot of football practices, you'll have drills designed between a running back and a linebacker, and that's essentially what's unfolded. They've had a lot of meetings in open field.
That was the drill when I played corner in high school. That
you
I
didn't
tried
want
to
to be part
slide
of?
myself back to the end of the
Trust
line.
me, why do you think I played quarterback? I never did that drill.
Not once.
Nope.
Not even as the running back?
Nope. I wanted no part of that.
235-pound redshirt freshman from Knoxville, Tennessee is up over 170. Here on 3rd and 5, cuts it upfield, has the first down, and into the red zone. And who's behind underneath? Ben Holt.
I mean, do you see the legs churning? Like, that just reminds me of such a power back. Watch the legs keep moving. You just keep moving forward, and Ben Holt on the bottom that time has just been holding on for dear life most of the night.
He has 14 tackles
look at
tonight.
That mouthpiece. I haven't seen that.
That's all the rage.
It is. Benny Snell from Kentucky. You see him tomorrow against Georgia. He's got the one with spinners. Have you seen that one? They actually move and they make a sound. So when he goes by you hear a whistle.
Mobley again. Gets the corner. Mobley chopped down at the 7. Drell Green making the tackle.
And this is where, if you're Middle Tennessee State, your offensive lineman, it's where you want to give Mobley a touchdown. Like, he's worked so well tonight. You want to give him a closing touchdown to close out this game.
And some credit goes to this offensive line as well. They've taken some heat. Rick Stockstill told us earlier this week the offensive line's had some good, they've had some bad, they've had some ugly. They had that game against Charlotte a couple weeks ago. They only gained 145 yards total in a win. Different story tonight, is 10 yards away from 500. On 1st and goal, Mobley. Maybe a yard. Now he's 1 yard away from 200 on the night.
That's another reason. Oh, they're taking him out. This is where you got to get him the 2 bills. Jason, you got to let him go over 200 yards. Don't give him the high five. Don't take him out. You got to leave him in there. Let him get 200.
Well, you mentioned the touchdown, too. He does have 3 on the year.
No, we need it. Brian, we need it. What do we need? We need Brian.
That's where somebody up in the press box has got to get in Rick Stockstill's ear and say, hey, you know our back's got 199.
Instead, it's Terrell West. And the Hilltoppers string it out. They're down to the 9. Well, he had the rest. Can you send him back in?
That's what I'm saying, but I don't think they're going to. I think his night is done.
And a timeout taken by Western Kentucky. 25 carries, 199 for Shaitan
Western
Mobley.
Kentucky, they're first. 32nd.
So we'll keep it right here. Again, we knew coming into this game, it is
Please
a rivalry.
Put 2:02 on the clock. 2:02.
So they'll add the 5 seconds. 4 of the last 6 in this series have gone to at least double overtime. Last year, Western Kentucky winning the triple overtime thriller in Bowling Green. But again, a tough season this year for the Hilltoppers. 4 of their losses by a field goal. Tonight's going to be a different story. And again, the season's starting to wear on them a little bit. But for Middle Tennessee, they've had some close victories. Tonight's been a different story.
Yeah, they've completely dominated this one pretty much from the middle of the first quarter on. Even going back to the first drive of the game, driving right down the field. So you got to feel like you're getting right at the right time if you're Rick Stockstill. Now they need a little bit of help outside or around the conference to get them that opportunity. They've looked really solid.
Yeah, new teams at the top. FAU, North Texas, picked to win, get back to Conference USA's championship game like last year. FAU's having some struggles. They're going to have a fight just to get to a bowl game. Here on 3rd and goal. Back to Terrell West. No chance. Decorian Darden making the tackle, and now Western Kentucky will take its 2nd timeout. And if you're Rick Stockstill here, again, crazy things can happen in college football. At the moment, it is still a 2-score game.
Yep. Timeout. Western Kentucky. They're second. 30 seconds.
You take the field goal here, and it's a 19-point game, and you ice it.
Yep. Because, I mean, weird things can happen. You don't want to have 2 scores on the board and risk a couple touchdowns and 2-point conversions. Try to take that scenario out of the game.
One coach in his second year, 35-year-old Mike Sanford Jr. on the left, 60-year-old coach Rick Stockstill on the right in his 13th year, Middle Tennessee, all those years at Clemson, South Carolina as well, before getting the head job here at Middle Tennessee, where he has been since 2006. And again, a win tonight, they will be bowl eligible for the 10th time in his 13 years here in Murfreesboro. Now, they haven't gone to a bowl in all those games, but they have been bowl eligible in 9 of the previous 12. And this is a chance to ice the game, make it 3 scores for Cruz Holt, who has hit 4 tonight after hitting just 4 all year. This from 30 yards out. Ball game. 5 made field goals tonight for Cruz Holt. And Middle Tennessee up 29-10 with 1:51 to go. Now, you talked about a dominant effort. They've had some struggles in terms of finishing drives, and I'm sure that's what Rick Stockstill will talk about this week as they move forward.
Oh, there's always a coaching point coming out of the game, and that's the one thing that I think that would take away is we got to finish. Got to find a way to put it in the end zone.
They'll take their show on the road next week to UTEP, who does not have a win this season, but they have been close a couple of times.
Those struggles in the red zone don't feel as bad in film session when you come out with a nice win. There's the remaining schedule right there.
Kentucky, second to last week of the season, then UAB. Blazers. You know, and you never know, too, right? If UAB keeps rolling the way that they are, you never know. Maybe they're the team towards the top of the group of 5 if UCF or some of those teams in the American slip up along the way. Chris Leach met at the 37-yard line. Now, we talked about Rick Stockstill a lot tonight and what he's done as a coach. What about what Rick Stockstill's background was and his connection to one Danny Cannell? Well, Rick Stockstill, Florida State quarterback.
Illustrious quarterback, yeah. We're part of an illustrious fraternity there, Jason.
Danny Cannell.
Throwback photo right there. Back in the day. We'll always have that.
Now, he said this week, big fan of yours. There's always that connection when you were a man who played for Bobby Bowden. Both of you did.
Yep.
Now, he was a captain. Were you captain?
I was captain.
Lucky Jackson making the grab.
He's a great guy, though. He's really a joy to talk to, and it's fun to watch him coaching his son out there, Brent, and you can see the success he's had here. And he's really, a lot of coaches might have taken an opportunity. Oh, there's your boy Reed Blankenship right there.
Finishing this one off. The interception for Blankenship off Stephen Duncan. Last week he took it back 100 yards for a score. This week gonna go out of bounds.
Doesn't need it.
Just tosses it to the rough like he's done it before.
Yep, I love that. I love that mentality. Hey, there's no need to celebrate, no need to gloat. All right, taking care of the game.
Well, you were talking about the head coach, and the head coach, by the way, couldn't talk enough this week about Reed Blankenship either.
Right, and you can see why. He's really anchored the back end of this defense and done such a nice job at this position. Just like, you can tell he's just a natural football player. Just kind of has a good feel for where to be at the right time. Call a lot of tackles, and he's always around the ball.
And they had a good one a couple of years ago as Stockstill takes the knee. Kevin Byard, a couple of years ago, all-conference USA safety, now playing with the Titans. Options galore there. He was here tonight and honored. They feel they got another one in Reed Blankenship, who's just a sophomore. On the other side for Western Kentucky and Mike Sanford, they're going to fall to 1-8. Very difficult second season.
Yeah, this one's going to sting a little bit for Western Kentucky. And you're talking about a program that's had a lot of success prior to him getting there. His pressure starting to build just a little bit.
Got a vote of confidence from his athletic director, Todd Stewart, earlier this week. Said it's going to take some time. They like the way they're developing the youth. But they're going to fall in the rivalry game for the first time since 2014. Fireworks here at Floyd Stadium. Middle Tennessee wins the 68th meeting with Western Kentucky. 29-10 here at home after dropping the last 3. And this time, they didn't need overtime to do it. Shaton Mobley, the star tonight for Middle Tennessee. Officially 199 yards on 25 carries for Rick Stockstill as we update the standings. Blue Raiders keeping pace with FIU, who again tomorrow will take on FAU in Miami. Western Kentucky falls to 0-5 in conference with 3 games left to play this season. Final thoughts here tonight, my friend.
An impressive win, that man right there. Shaton Mobley, really impressive, getting it done. 199 yards on the ground. It looks like Middle Tennessee has found their running back.
And the running game. Yep. They've been searching for it. 29-10 the final here in Murfreesboro. Middle Tennessee knocks off Western Kentucky. Now for Danny Cannell and our entire crew, I'm Jason Horowitz. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Now let's send it back to Brent Stover and Kevin Carter in our New York City studios.
Jason, Danny, everybody down there in Tennessee, tremendous job as always. 29-10 the final, and that 6 wins. Bowl eligibility, Middle Tennessee. Stockstill doing what he always does, both father and son. And Shaton Mobley has a massive, massive day, while Western Kentucky completes 34% of their passes among 3 different guys. You don't often see a number quite like that. I guess give some credit to the Middle Tennessee defense a little bit.
Except for the excitement in the second half when Stephen Duncan came in and threw in a touchdown on his first attempt going downfield. There was really no offense, little or no offense for this Western Kentucky team. We're talking about Shaton Mobley. We talk about what Stockstill did in the air. But the real story to me is the defense. The defense held them, in essence, to 3 points for most of this game. They're stating their case as a team for a conference champion.
In that division, though, you got 4-0 in the conference so far for FIU. And so Middle Tennessee is at 5-1, so essentially the same separation. But Mobley, you mentioned it, 25 carries for $198. 29-10, you just get it done like this in early November, an opportunity in a conference game. You can't overlook anybody. Western Kentucky, they got to find a way to get some sort of momentum in this final month of the season.
They've got to find a way to manufacture points, and that starts with continuity within your offense. You saw them tonight trying different quarterback after different quarterback after different quarterback. They're going to have to find some combination of a signal caller, someone who has the ball in their hands on every play that's able to make a positive and profound impact on this offense.
One thing I want to circle back on, Cordell Hudson went down, and for about 10 or 15 minutes in this game, he went down on a special teams play that looked pretty bad. He was down on the field for quite some time. We understand that he has been transported about 40 minutes away to Vanderbilt University Medical Center for more evaluation. Positive thing is we saw him raising and moving both arms when he went off the field. It's scary stuff.
Thoughts and prayers.
Yeah,
definitely.
No doubt about it. Don't want to speculate. But 29-10, Middle Tennessee gets their 6th win. They are bowl eligible. Fresh edition. 30 minutes of inside college football coming your way right after this short break.